this episode 5? 6.
I want to say 6.
It's 6.
I forgot. Hello and welcome back to the Supertrope podcast, episode 6. Tonight we have, across the table for me, Tommy.
Heyo.
Cameron.
Hello.
Cain.
Hi.
Cody.
Hi.
And myself, Josh. Hi. And, yeah. So, it's been a pretty interesting week. We got a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to things going on in the world. Lots of games to talk about that we've all played.
Crazy
I'm
week.
Sure. Yeah. It has been pretty nuts. So, we'll go ahead and jump straight on into this. Cody, what you been playing this week?
Actual video games this time. Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow. Curveball. Keeping it real. I can't remember. No.
Is it a D&D?
You put me
video
on the
game?
spot. I played Goner. I purchased that last week, and so I finally got to playing that.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed it. I've been enjoying it a lot. It is very challenging, and it is very much a roguelike in that, yeah, it's not a roguelite. Apart from like items you get, when you die, it's just level 1. Just go back to level 1. Just go on back. You got this.
So is Goner? Is it like a platformer, or is it?
It is.
How does that?
It is a side-scrolling kind of platformy shooter that is level-based, and I don't think the levels are randomly generated. I think it's each world has a batch list of levels that are randomly assorted, and you go through like 5 of them before fighting a boss, and then you go to the next world, go through like 5 levels or so before fighting a boss, and so on and so forth. It's interesting though because it's very challenging at times. Because part of the mechanics is that you can't aim. It's all just, you're either shooting right or left, and you get little like masks and guns and backpacks, and the guns determine your bullets, the masks determine how much health you have, and also weird little perks, and then the backpacks are special abilities. And so you can combine things and kind of figure out what's best for you, and it's real fun. I highly recommend it to anybody who is into fast-paced action games that you can kind of just sit down and play at any given point. And I'm playing that. Then I've also been playing a story about my uncle, and also
spooky games.
Well, that's not a spooky
Story
game.
about my uncle.
That's a platformer.
No, sorry. That.
Yep.
I was. That's
Oh,
right.
First-person bionic commando.
I did.
I was thinking
yes.
about. I think my uncle that works at Nintendo or something like that.
Oh no. And then I played Cain animatronics for a whole like 30 seconds. So that was neat.
Some high-profile
there was
games here, Cody.
Yeah, there was some other game that I was playing.
Whatever
and it
Paladins.
Hey, Paladins is
What?
good, okay? Don't talk shit.
Let's see. Oh, I just bought
Wait.
Super Hot.
So what is... Okay, so clearly there was a little bit of confusion. What is the Uncle game?
Okay, so A Story About My Uncle is a first-person platforming game with a grapple mechanic, like grappling hook.
Oh, the first person bionic
And
commando.
hover boots.
I see now.
And
Okay.
gravity
Yeah,
boots.
so
Nice.
you have this little power suit, and you can like power jump, and you can sprint and release the power jump to do a forward leap. You can also use the grappling hook to grapple to things, but it's not like a traditional grappling hook. You have to rely on momentum to swing, because otherwise the grappling hook will just pull you somewhat statically towards your target. So unless you're going pretty fast, you will just stop where you're going and just start going that other direction. So you have to it really makes you think about where you're going to grapple. I mean, there's little visual cues all over the place that tell you where to grapple, but apart from that, it's good. It's entertaining. It's interesting. It's got a cool story. Going through it, I'm like, I want to say that I'm like halfway through, but yeah.
Which area are you at?
I just entered the ice place, and then I stopped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that area has a lot of tricky grapple mechanics where if you lose your momentum, you just kind of hang there, and then you look down and you realize I have to just accept my slow release of death. and fall and restart.
Yep.
That happened to me a lot.
Yeah. I'm making it slightly difficult for myself by playing it mostly on the controller, and so it is very challenging.
I actually played it on controller.
It's very challenging.
I preferred it that way.
I play it on controller, and then when there's parts that are super difficult, I put the controller down, I swap to mouse and keyboard because I just need to be able to do those hairpin turns. Anyway, that's what I've been playing.
Yeah. I could see, controller would definitely be a disadvantage at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, Cain, what have you been doing?
I have been playing video games other than WoW.
That's great news.
Is that good?
Congratulations.
I'm so happy
Is it good?
for you.
We should track. We have like numbered episodes to track this. Actually, we could like come up with some sort of research.
I mean, I actually have been playing
Combo
WoW.
breaker.
So after the podcast ended last week, I remembered that Shadow Warrior 2 was out, and I've been waiting for that game for a while. So I promptly bought it, I promptly downloaded it, and I have not played it. It's great. So that's in the backlog. I'm waiting for that. But what I have been playing, which I know all the rest of you have also been playing, at least 3 of you, 2 of you,
Yeah.
is
All the rest
I
of
know
you,
what
3
Matt.
of you, 2 of you.
is a little game called Battlefield 1.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played a Battlefield game. Well, that's a lie. I played 4 during its horrendous launch, and that was a trip. I played a little bit of 3, and that wasn't really that memorable either. I'm not a huge Battlefield like military shooter type fan, but I appreciate them. They come and go. But I bought Battlefield 1 because it looked enticing. I've got this new, hot computer, so why not make it hot and crank these graphics up to the max.
Nice, Cain. Nice.
You all respect my wit. You like it, but
There are reasons to hang out with me.
yeah. So yeah, I've got this hot new computer playing Battlefield 1, and it's great. I really like it. It's grabbed me more than like a kind of mainstream shooter has done, and probably a while. I mean,
Any kind of contemporary shooter since forever.
yeah, probably since
Since what,
Call of
Doom
Duty 4
3?
maybe, and even then I didn't even play that much. But anyway,
I'm liking it a lot too. Surprisingly.
yeah, it's really good. When I first started, the tutorial was kind of overzealous to me. It was kind of like preaching the trials and tribulations of World War I, which is fine. I think that has its place, and I haven't played the campaign yet, so maybe it gets better. But the tutorial kind of was just like, all right, I'm rolling my eyes here. Let me get into the multiplayer. I don't know if you guys got that vibe, but I kind of did. But anyway, once I jumped into the multiplayer, I was immediately pissed. Snipers everywhere. I'm dying constantly. This is bullshit. Fuck this. I played it for about an hour more, kind of started to get the hang of the maps, started to kind of realize that it's not Overwatch. You're not Reinhardt. You don't have a shield. You don't have a rewind button as Tracer. You have to play the sneaky card game. You have to get on the grass and you have to earn your kills. Otherwise, you die. So after I stopped charging in with the shotgun, things got a little bit better.
Nice.
But yeah, the pacing of the fights are really good. That's one of the things about like Battlefield 4 that kind of stuck out to me, was just that as I would play it, there would just be like, you die and then you run back to the combat for 3 minutes, and maybe it's not that way. Maybe
there were
maybe it got
definitely
better.
those points.
Yeah, it just, that really stuck with me, and I just didn't, I don't know, it kind of bored me, basically. But Battlefield 1, every time you spawn in, there's usually people hanging out at your base. It feels like there's always stuff happening, no matter what you're doing. There's mustard gas everywhere. You have to charge in with your, you got to put your gas mask on, you got to run in with, and that's actually one of the great things about it, is that, the gas actually does mix up that sniper gameplay that I was talking about. Like, I have a loadout on my assault class where I just put a gas mask on at all times, throw tons of mustard gas into buildings with my shotgun, and I play it like Reaper. I just go through, go through the halls, and I just blow people up with my, it's great. So yeah, there's lots of versatility. I love the maps. There's one map in particular with a castle. I can't remember what it's called, but there's like a fortress.
I think it's called Ballroom Blitz.
No, that's like the one with like the fountain in the middle. I'm thinking of like the desert with like the castle on one end of like a river, and then on the other end there's like a high point of desert. Anyway, it's great.
Oh, are you talking about the D with the artillery?
Yes, absolutely.
The D.
The D on top. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh boy.
I found myself, like, when I wasn't playing with you guys, I was basically just trying to find the most remote point that I possibly could and just hide, because I was so bad that I would just constantly die. I just, run out in the middle of nowhere and just get shot. So I was like, let me find the most remote point that I possibly can and just shoot artillery and snipe dudes. And it totally works, and that got me going. I eventually, started playing with you guys, and it's a ton of fun getting a group of 5 people and getting everybody yelling at each other and capture C, capture B. It's super fun. I'm totally into it.
Yeah, there's just something about like Battlefield games when you first start off. It's you want to expect that you're going to die and you're going to suck for the first 2 hours playing that game, because it has like a pretty massive curve learning all the maps and all the new weapons and stuff like that. And so like every time I start one of those, a new Battlefield game, I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna die a whole lot. But then after you start learning stuff and you start figuring out like strategies, and especially when you get a good pace going with like friends and stuff like that, man, those games are pretty awesome. It's pretty much like all the Battlefield games have pretty much been my main online multiplayer shooters for the past 4 years. So, yeah,
that's really
it's
cool.
good.
And I'm totally digging the vibes. It just has a really cool, like, classic World War I vibe. Like, it doesn't have a futuristic get in your jet plane, and it just, I don't know. I kind of got sick of that. Like Call of Duty Modern Warfare kind of drove that into the dirt for me. I kind of got over it.
Mm-hmm.
Going back, I never thought I would say this in my lifetime, but going back to like the 20s, 40s, whatever the hell, I don't know time eras. World War I.
How about just 1900?
1916, 1918.
There you go.
The way
20s.
back
I was right the
wins.
first time.
100 years ago, actually, and they start off the game talking about that.
Oh yeah, during that tutorial I wrote off. So but yeah, it's super fun. I'm really into it. I'm digging the vibes. They're good. I can't say enough good things about it right now.
I really like it too. It's kind of funny you keep bringing up Overwatch, because I've been kind of comparing it in loosely to Overwatch 2, just contemporary multiplayer experiences. And yeah, it's the size. It'd be like if Overwatch had 20 versus 20 or 64 player shit going on. Like, you run out in the open, you get punished. Like in Overwatch, if you're dirtling around, you might be in a hallway completely by yourself and no one doesn't even see it. Like someone's probably seeing you always screwing up in Battlefield 1. I've been really liking it too. It's and Cain's totally right. The environment, I think the limitations in a sense, like you still have automatic weapons, stuff that probably isn't super true to the time exactly. But the automatic weapons have like a larger spread, and the clips are really small. Like everybody is on this limited playing ground after we've been spoiled with all these toys and stuff with modern and futuristic shooters. I'm really enjoying it too, a lot more than I kind of expected to. On the flip side, I only did like the first half an hour of the campaign or so, and it is kind of roll your eyes a little bit, I'd have to say, with you, Cain. I'm not very far at all, so I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm sure it's gonna have some awesome set pieces. That's what I expect out of this campaign. But right away you're clearing barbed wire for a tank, and the tank storyline was alright and stuff like that, but you can just kind of tell it's kind of like, okay, run up and either stealth all these dudes or shoot all these dudes, and then you just keep kind of going through the paces. But the multiplayer is really good. I'm actually, this almost feels like a multiplayer that I personally am more likely to play by myself than I'm likely to play Overwatch by myself, as weird as that is to say.
Yeah, that's really crazy actually.
I think the kind of the incentives that it has by kind of unlocking weapons and what have you, and just kind of the larger aspect of it. Like I'm better being a face in the crowd when that crowd is larger than being a face on a 5-person team where people get a little more intimate and things of that nature. So I don't know. I'm enjoying Battlefield 1 quite a bit.
Good. Makes me happy. friends are playing video games I like to play.
It's so funny too because we were so sick, flashback 10 years ago, give or take, and we were all so sick of World War II shooters. But it is nice to see kind of this old seeing a blimp crash, or if they even go back to World War II, seeing Normandy Beach. It's nice to see that with new modern technology because it is really impressive. Seeing a blimp go down live during a multiplayer game while you're still trying to run around and make sure you don't get shot is pretty cool.
Yep. Or being on the back of the plane and shooting it down. Like, that stuff is epic. It's great.
Yeah, the vehicles are pretty fun, which is always in a Battlefield game. The vehicles are always awesome.
I gotta mention that the aerial combat in this Battlefield game has felt better than has felt better than any of the Battlefield games since like Battlefield 2. Because you jump in a jet or you jump in a helicopter, like you are dead within seconds because someone else is like such an ace pilot with either a helicopter or a jet that they just immediately hone in on you and you're dead, or there's just ground to air missiles that blow you out of the sky. The aerial combat in this game it feels way more it feels way more intimate with the other aircraft in the game with you, especially if you have a gunner buddy or something, because it's very much just like trying to get into range for your gunner to take him out.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I was playing with Dane and he was like flying the plane, just doing his normal crazy thing on voice chat, and I'm like on the back of the plane, film like Luke Skywalker in the back of the Millennium Falcon, shooting down the other planes behind me. It's so great. It feels great.
It's sweet too because they're 3-seat planes, and if it's just you and the driver, you can constantly like monkey over him driving the plane, going back and forth between the front and the back seat to get a better angle because they're constantly moving between you and stuff. There was badasses who did that back then.
Yeah, wonky thing with the physics: if you invert the plane and then switch seats, you will totally just crawl underneath the plane. Like nothing's just like whatever, man, no problem.
Wait, so I'm imagining like Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3 are like where you get all those crazy videos online with people like jumping out of a plane in a dive and then they land back in the plane or whatever. Like I'm sure that stuff is still possible in Battlefield 1.
Yeah,
I'm sure of it. People are probably perfecting the craft already.
I hope so. We're gonna have to try some of that.
Josh, I have a question.
Yes.
I have enough money in my budget this paycheck to get one major video game.
Uh-oh.
Should I get Battlefield 1 or should I get Overwatch?
Uh-oh.
So here's one thing real quick is Battlefield is really fucking good.
Okay.
But there's more though. This is actually the very first video game where I'm barely scraping by on low. Like I'm barely peaking over 40 frames on low, and it is struggling something fierce. So
this game is very processor heavy. You need a good CPU to run this game.
Okay, well never mind. I'll buy Overwatch.
Yeah, I mean, if you're picking up Overwatch, I still will play the shit out of Overwatch with you, because
Overwatch has proven itself.
My computer
to be
will burst
long
into flames.
lasting. We could be real hot and bothered on Battlefield 1 right now.
The issue I've always had is that with Battlefield, I've always been able to jump into a game and enjoy myself and play just fine and do well. And from what I've seen, just Overwatch looks like it has the worst community ever. Like it's like almost as bad as League because it's all the League people who are now playing Overwatch.
That's what you get when you get intimate parties, when it's just like a cesspool chat room. Who cares what they
Stupid
say?
People and their judgmental
But
attitudes.
but it's only 5 of you. Oh, it hurts, man. Sticks and stones.
Yeah.
The Overwatch community isn't that bad, considering like I played a little bit of League of Legends and those type of games, and that those communities are like the most toxic place on the internet besides maybe 4chan, and like Battlefield 1 doesn't really have that problem. That I've seen, at least, the community isn't really that bad. I have had somebody call me out when I was driving a tank, and I just somehow flipped the tank. I don't know how, it just randomly flipped. And some dude in the chat was just like, "What the fuck, Cain and Bob? How did you even do that?" And I just laughed. Like, we all just had a good time.
You're just like, "Hey man, I didn't design this game."
Yeah. Exactly.
There's some weird stuff. Yeah, like that should be mentioned with Battlefield 1. There's some wonky stuff with the vehicles.
Are horses still overpowered?
Yeah, well,
not as bad as the beta, but
Okay.
they still are really fucking strong.
Okay.
yeah. They just
That's what
one-shot
happened,
people.
Cain. A horse hit your tank. And then it flipped over.
No, I don't know what happened, but yeah, horses are still there. They're still a threat.
Yeah. Tommy, what have you been doing?
I have not been playing Battlefield 1. For the most part, I've just been playing what I was last week. More Mafia 3, more WoW, a little bit of Thumper mixed in between those two. And it's weird. I go back and forth between World of Warcraft and Guild Wars 2 and everything like that. And considering how it's Halloween and everyone's doing their Halloween-themed events and everything, I just wanted to check out Guild Wars 2, see what it's like. And even though I'm not playing it because I've played a lot of their Halloween content in the past, but I do like how they design their city structure to look over what Blizzard does with World of Warcraft. It looks very pretty, especially if you can max out your settings and get all the bloom effects and the lighting and everything like that. It actually looks like it reminds me of like Nightmare Before Christmas and everything like that. Just an enchanted little area themed around Halloween. And they do this with all the major events. But it's mainly just confined to the capital city. You go out to other areas of the world, you're not going to find as much stuff like what World of Warcraft has with the trick-or-treating and the orphans doing the trick-or-treating. So it's kind of each one has their own positive and negative. But I just really like being able to see what it looks like on a computer that can actually run all those high-end effects, because I was playing on a laptop before. And so it was nice to see what they intended it to look like. And then Mafia 3, still enjoying my time in New Bordeaux, in the setting in the 70s and the soundtrack and everything like that. I don't normally play a lot of $60 games when they first come out, just because I have a huge backlog. But it's really the area and the setting and the soundtrack that pulled me into that one. Mm-hmm. And then for whatever reason, this year I find myself wanting to carve a pumpkin really bad.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. Like, I haven't carved a pumpkin in years.
Like in real life.
For whatever reason, Yeah, like in real life. Like I was
while.
just like, you know what? I haven't done this in a while. I want to carve a pumpkin. I'm probably not going to have the time. But then that got me thinking about how unfair it is at times. Because when you're a little kid, you can tell everybody, I'm going to eat ice cream and candy for dinner every night. And you can do that. But
don't do that.
Where we live, at least, you can't just be sitting around in May going, well, not a whole lot going on. I think I'll carve a pumpkin. Because nobody sells them. So I'm not going to be able to carve a pumpkin until next year, probably. So I'll have to live with that. You know, I'll have to hold that.
We have nice stems and everything, too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we actually have an area where we can carve it and everything. But I tend to like doing the pictures that take a lot of time. So I'll have to think of something really cool to do with a pumpkin next year. And then beyond that, since it's October is the month for horror movies, I've been watching the presidential debates.
I've been too. Entertaining as hell.
Yeah, the first one was unintentional comedy. So very much. And then the next two were just like, wait a minute. People still are behind this? How? I don't know. It's a bizarre world we live in, apparently.
Yeah.
That's one of the great things about Battlefield 1 chat, is that Battlefield 1 chat is just full of Donald Trump quotes constantly.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it would have been like, von Bismarck or whatever his name was or something like that. You know,
No, Trump's got his
make
own
Turkey
train in
great
that
again,
game.
or make the Ottoman
Is
Empire
it now?
great
Is
again
it just the
or something.
Dane thing, or do people call it the Trump train in general?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's just a
Wait, what is this Trump train?
It's just a really
Uh,
stupid big
so-
train.
Essentially, like, you go to like 3 rounds on some
But it's the
maps,
best train
and,
you'll ever see.
Yeah. I know
You
trains.
go to
It's
3
the best
rounds
train.
some games, and if you got stomped in the last game, your team, then you'll get kind of a boost in the next games. Either that's the train or it's a Zeppelin. What is he called? The fucking Zeppelin?
The Behemoth,
Rosie
I think.
O'Donnell.
He does call it Rosie
Flying in,
O'Donnell.
yeah.
See, so it's still political. Thank you.
But yeah, so
That was
the
a hot
Trump
topic.
train basically just rolls into station and just fucks everything up.
Yep.
So
Cool.
there's Trump trains, there's Rosios, there's fuck tanks.
Is the Trump chain made with Chinese steel?
I hope so. We can only hope.
Yeah.
Just-
But yeah, that's just what I've been doing. Kind of more of the same this week.
Cool. Right on.
And we all know Josh has been playing Battlefield 1,
Yeah.
but what else?
Well, I finished up Mafia 3. This is weird. I'm not the last one. We'll do Cameron last today. Yeah, I finished up Mafia 3. A game, the story is really good. It's pretty dry, like the gameplay, and towards the end of the game, it's super repetitive.
Like,
but,
we've all survived fetch quests, so
yeah.
should be able to survive Mafia 3.
Yeah, so I mean, it's so repetitive, but even still, like with those taking the rackets and stuff like that, I had a really great time just getting to the end, taking down the lieutenant and like the crazy shit that they were doing in their district. Yeah, and I honestly, like with the ending, I was pretty pleased overall how that game wrapped up. I mean, definitely no spoilers for Tommy who's still playing through this game or others who are still playing it. But yeah, overall, I felt like they did the game itself justice in the ways that they chose to end it. So there's multiple different endings, and I definitely YouTubed the other ones I didn't see, and I was totally okay with every one of them. So
one thing I've enjoyed about Mafia 3 is that as much as I like the character of Lincoln Clay, he's got a strong supporting cast, which definitely helps in a game like that.
Yeah, so
I love Donovan.
Right? This is the kind of we sometimes when we do like Game of the Year stuff and stuff like that, we've always kind of had silly off categories like best character. This is the kind of game where you could almost see like two of the characters being in like a top 5 of the year.
Yeah.
Like both Donovan and Father James, I thought were awesome.
Yep. And like even when Donovan, like he obviously doesn't share some of the same moral ideals as I do, but he is such a well done character that I still like him, even though he has ideas counter to my own.
Yeah, there's still some respect for the guy, even though he can be kind of a scummy kind of dude. It's like, well, he's justified.
Yeah.
So
again, no spoilers, but Josh beating the game. There's a really interesting Donovan thing that I can't wait to talk with Tommy about.
Yeah,
it made me. It's one of those type of like after credit scenes that makes you like want a sequel, which I don't say lightly. It was pretty good.
Yeah, but overall thought that wrapped up pretty well. Battlefield, we've done that. And yeah, I've also had a chance to really dive into some PlayStation VR. So, thank you.
How's your wallet feel after your PSVR? How's the wallet feeling? Is there buyer's remorse?
It's not too bad actually.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's pretty bearable.
It's pretty all right.
It is expensive. Let that be
yes.
to the average consumer, that is a steep price, especially because they try to play it off as $400. It kind of feels more like $500.
Yeah, especially like the bundles and all that stuff. So and like everything that we need to get all set up. Yeah, it runs kind of heavy, but but at any rate, it's so far is pretty cool. It's interesting. I don't know, like maybe it's just like my memory of the demo at PAX seemed to be like more, I don't know, like it would. I suppose in memory I was seeing things like a lot clearer, but maybe this is just how it was. But overall, like the resolution obviously is nowhere on the same level as HTC Vive, or the Oculus Rift. But I mean, it runs incredibly well, 60 frames on the PlayStation 4. Like I'm totally blown away that the PlayStation 4 is able to handle that constant, nonstop, with the support of the extra processing unit. But so I played around with some of the VR worlds, watched Paisley get it eaten by a shark, and that was amazing. And also picked up Drive Club because I heard that was the one VR game that has been causing people to hurl, and so far, for the most part, I hadn't really gotten to a level of nausea that I felt like I needed to take the headset off yet.
Even more so than the one where you're walking along and changing perspective on the planes and flipping upside down.
Yeah, apparently so.
Okay.
Have you played? I'm not gonna remember its name. It's on VR World. and it's like the alien space one. Like you're
Yeah,
like,
that's what Tommy was talking
oh,
about.
okay,
Yeah.
that one was
The
making me
mech
feel
walker
a
thing or
little woozy. That was the only one that's
Mhm.
giving me that feel so far, actually.
Yeah, especially like there's segments. So essentially, like you're in space, zero G stuff, and you're in a quadruped uh, mech, and essentially, you have this ability where you hold left L2, and you can essentially look and jump to like a wall or a ceiling or any space that's flat, and the transition from leaping and then going into like
Reorienting your ground
reorienting and all
floor.
that stuff, like it's all telegraphed very nicely with this kind of like this green arc that goes to where you're headed, but even still it feels super weird when you are shifting and then coming down, and then like everything feels like it's now, you know, level.
Just the reorientation that you have to go through.
That
each time
feels
you do it.
funky. And then paired with your guns are tracked by looking, and essentially whatever you look at will be targeted, and you press the right trigger to fire at it. And so the act of looking at an enemy and firing in that while simultaneously also jumping to another platform to avoid being hit by a swarm of enemies, that is enough to really send you over the top. So yeah, so that game got me a little bit, but it still wasn't to the point where I felt like I needed to rip the thing off my face and run to the bathroom. And I guess I wasn't really trying to chase that so much, but you know, people talk about how VR, it makes them super nauseous, and I haven't really hit that yet. And then I played Drive Club. Um and Drive Club isn't really super terrible. It took me a couple of races to really kind of get used to it overall, but the thing that really messes with you in Drive Club isn't so much this like the quick weaving in and out of turns and stuff like that, is elevation. When you go up bump and then you come down a hill and you're cruising at like 120 miles an hour, it really does something weird to your head. You feel like you're turning sideways and you get dizzy, and it's interesting. I mean, it's really freaking cool sitting behind a car, like a supercar in the driver's seat, and being able to like look out the window and all that stuff. But yeah, overall it's been a pretty cool experience so far. I'd love to try some multiplayer with the VR sometime.
There's some cool stuff. I've been dabbling in VR as well with that in mind.
Is Drive Club the only one with multiplayer, or do some of those
there's plenty of multiplayer
the PlayStation
games.
world?
There's quite a few. You get VR Showroom, I want to say, for free off PlayStation Network, and it's kind of cool. It has a bunch of little mini games, like one of them where you're like a cat, and it's kind of like a red light, green light, where you're the cat, you see through the cat's eyes, kind of looking behind curtains, and you can kind of stick your head out slowly, and they're trying to run around and grab the cheese. So they look at the TV. It's kind of like the Wii U setup. They look at the TV.
Okay.
They use that. You have your own perspective, essentially your own screen in the VR headset. And that's what they're doing with a lot of multiplayer games. One that I cannot recommend enough. I think the game may have technically come out last year. I'm not sure. If not, it's definitely a best local multiplayer, just best multiplayer game, is Keep Talking and No One Explodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that is such a cool game, and it was out before the VR headset, but my girlfriend and I were doing that, and I'm on my computer using my multi-monitor setup. I have all these, it's a game where essentially there's Group A and a Group B. Group A is in a room with a bomb with all these little switches and devices on it. It's kind of riddles, if you will. What color are these wires? Use those colors to determine which one you cut using this more or less PDF site. And you have to do communication hardcore. That's been that and Overcooked, all about communication. So yeah, it's great for multiplayer games, and it usually does it in a way where you only need the headset and people just need controllers, and that's it.
Since you brought it up, I thought a cool multiplayer game for VR would be something like Overcooked. It would just get that much more chaotic.
Well, and see, I've been doing probably my game I would pick to maybe just show someone VR, and I think it's really interesting because I think some people kind of roll their eyes at VR in general, and then other people like view it as like a next step. Like I've heard even some people say 2D to 3D, 3D to VR. Like it wows some people. That game for me, in a way that's kind of that I'm really like getting it and really enjoying it, is Job Simulator. I really like Job Simulator. It's just fun. You just get into it. You know, I did one where you're more or less working at like a quickie mart essentially, and they just give you all these stupid tasks. And why that reminded me of that is there's one where you are essentially a chef. You know, a fast short order cook.
Oh, short order. Okay.
Yeah, and so you're doing that, but you're using the motion and you're using the silly kind of physics-based grab things, and you have to, you know, throw this on the cook, on the grill, do this, do that, and yeah, it's actually being pretty fun. The thing is, you burn through these kind of quick. Imagine like like the Wii. My girlfriend hit VR real hard and spent like a whole weekend pretty much doing it, and by the time she got done through about maybe 3 games in a way, 3 full games you could say, she was kind of, you know, had got her experience out of it. So that's something to be said. It is really missing kind of longevity at games right now. You could have said the same thing about the Wii, you know, the first couple months it came out too. So hopefully that gets better, but it's seeing is believing with VR. It's so cliche, you've heard it a million times, but you really got to experience it to understand it.
So have both of you guys had that moment that everybody talks about with VR where you become a believer? The only game that I've ever played in VR was Super Hot. And that was cool. It was cool.
Yeah.
But it didn't like wow me. I didn't walk away like with stars in my eyes. Have you guys had that moment, and what was it?
I don't suppose I've actually really hit the moment. For me, it was incredibly exciting to play Drive Club though, and be able to like actually sit in the car and race, and it felt pretty natural from you know, like whenever I play any kind of racing game, especially racing or simulation racing games, I always am driving from the, you know, from the driver's seats. And so being able to actually like feel like I'm there in the race was really cool. I don't really think that I would actually use that as, you know, I guess my go-to setup every single time, but yeah, I don't think that I've played a game in VR yet where I feel like that is the definitive way to play that video game. So
there's certain things like games that are entirely designed around like Job Simulator stuff. I can't even imagine that game being that interesting. It'd probably be like a surgeon simulator, I suppose, without the VR. With that game, you're standing behind a counter, and the game's kind of intending you to stay in a spot, just kind of the limitations of VR. Kind of when I wanted to move forward and mess with the customer, you can like take their hats off and put them on and take their glasses and take them and stuff. Just me intentionally avoiding the counter, like really like considering it there, but it's not actually obviously there, was interesting. It wasn't, I don't think, exactly one of those moments entirely, but I think one of the big things that where it's kind of, I'm seeing the potential. I don't think it's kind of 100% got me yet, but I'm seeing really awesome potential is you're just thinking of these VR games like a 360 camera, like you're just in a spot and you're pivoting. In a lot of ways, that is how they are. But there's depth that you don't really realize. I've slapped this on a couple customers' heads, and they just stand there and they look around. It's the fact that you can like get over the cubicle and like look over the wall, or that you can get down into the counter and underneath the countertop and open up that fridge and look inside the fridge and even like look around it. Kind of like if you do any of the augmented reality stuff on the 3DS, how those were kind of impressive when it's not just a hole in the floor, it's a hole that you can move the camera towards and like see down the hole, that kind of thing.
The perspective
that
it gives you.
That has been the thing that's really got me.
I gotta ask you, Cameron, have you noticed how tiny VR people are?
No, I'm only like seeing like computers with faces, because like I'm mainly playing Job Simulator and a few other things.
Dude, like London Heist, I played that through. I played the kitchen demo. All VR people are tiny itty bitty VR people. Like they are no taller than like 4 feet. They have got the skinniest legs and arms ever. They're the kind that you just want. Like I was playing the kitchen demo and like I'm like bound up and I look down and my legs are just twigs. I'm like, what the fuck? And I look over and then there's this tiny little VR man on the ground. I just want to cradle him and hold him and
Tell them everything will
gonna
be all right.
okay. Yeah, like it just VR people are weird looking and really tiny.
That's funny.
Very, very tiny.
Yeah. I do have 2 questions for you guys. Have either of you checked out the Eve game?
No, I want to.
Okay.
Eve Valkyrie.
I heard that one was supposed to be one of the better experiences, and then I just wanted
don't shake
to.
your head, Cameron. What are you gonna say?
I haven't played it. It's
Oh, okay.
I really have dabbled
Okay.
in the VR demo disc. I bought Job Simulator. Keep Talking, Everyone Explodes. I
Wait,
think.
and no one explodes.
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. People are exploding, and
No, everybody explodes.
And I
Tiny
think
little
that was
VR people
it.
are exploding all over
There
the
may have
place.
been a third game that I'm not remembering right now. Oh no, not I didn't buy it, but the PlayStation showroom, the one with the cats and
Oh,
stuff,
okay.
which is fun.
Ah.
Definitely recommended that because
But
it's free.
I also wanted to ask, how is the sound design so far as giving you perspective on sound? Things that you think would be far away, do they sound far away? That type of thing.
3D sounds pretty good.
You gotta have
like
headphones
the-
on for sure. I think a lot of people are playing
Yeah.
an open speaker, and I think that's a massive mistake. It
But as far
really
as-
adds to it with the headphones on.
Yeah. But like as far as like immersing you, it actually sounds like, if I hear a sound coming from behind me and to the right, if I looked around, I could potentially see
Yeah.
an animal or a person there and everything like that.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Because
Mhm.
that's going to be half the experience, even though it's all about seeing virtual reality. It feels like sound is literally going to be half the experience of enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, like the tech and all that stuff, like they've definitely fixed up, or not fixed up, but have really kind of with the technology that they have, like the old, like the Move controllers and all that stuff,
Mhm.
like, and despite it being such old technology, they have really kind of brought it all together and have made a pretty believable experience overall with
Nice.
it. And yeah, like people are complaining that you couldn't use wireless headphones for the 3D sound. The microphone line in is like literally on the VR cable. It's just like right there, so you don't even notice that you have your headphones plugged in. So that's a non-issue at all. But yeah, overall, so far with the PlayStation VR, I am actually it's better than what I expected. So
So I have a quick question. We were comparing this to the Wii earlier. Do you guys think that this has a big learning curve? Because the Wii was a gigantic success because it basically had no learning curve in regards to like Wii Sports. Does this have a learning curve? And do you think that the accessibility is there, like that allows this to be a huge success? Because VR has massive potential outside of gaming, but for whatever reason, it's really, come out of the womb in the gaming industry. That's kind of where it's showing its face for the first time. Do you think that the game industry is setting it up for success with accessibility and like actual immersion? Like that's my question about this. I'm curious about if we're actually setting it up for success or not.
I think the odds are stacked against it right now, honestly. I don't I think not so much about that you mentioned, more about price. I think price is a problem and lack of must-have games. Kind of it's just, I mean, if the DS and the Wii had the same quality of games they had in their first 6 months forever, then those systems I don't think would have continued. I mean, they eventually grew. I guess in a lot of ways they kind of were limited in some ways too. Like you could say the original DS games, a lot of their games never went beyond tech demos except for some of the better
There was a
traditional
lot
games.
of 2-screen novelty games.
Yeah, so I mean, it's tough. I think it's definitely not accessibility or even learning curve, and to me, it can be a little intimidating coming out of the box. It's actually pretty kind of crazy, all the different boxes, the wires, stuff like that. I mean,
yeah, the setup is nuts.
the processing unit itself seriously looks like a PlayStation 2 Slim practically. It's like it's a setup. Once you get past that, and once you figure out how to get the headset on you, and especially how to make sure it's on you in a way that it feels focused and stuff, then it does feel pretty natural. Like I wasn't having to guide my girlfriend very much, customers in general. Like once you kind of put the controller in their hands and they kind of see, it's interesting too because they're doing different control setups left and right. Some games you have a dual shock and it's using the light more or less. It's kind of like the light on the back of the controller. It's using that as kind of like a pointer, like a Wii remote. Sometimes you use the PlayStation Move controllers. Sometimes you don't use any controller at all. It's just using head movement. but all of it does feel really natural. I mean, you're doing what you want to do, what your instincts in your body are telling you to do, essentially. Even with the PlayStation Move, it's really, they never use any of the face buttons. I haven't played a single game that used a face button. It's pretty much nothing but movement and triggers. So it's really just pressure points. So it's really going to be price and software. Even, because it's, you try to play it off that it's $400. We even said it's $500. It's not really. It's $900 because, I mean, you're assuming that someone has a PS4. Yeah, I mean, it's, which, I mean, we're talking about more or less a new medium in a sense, and it's more a $900 buy-in if you don't have anything to start off with. You can make the same argument about Vive. You have to have a computer too that can handle that, but it's gonna be, that's the bottom line. Like, the Wii being $200 sure helped the Wii in a lot of ways too. Like, grandma and grandpa might think this is awesome. I want to take a VR headset over to my parents and have them try it out. But money talks, and $400 or $500 awesome has to be like iPhone awesome. So it's a trick. They need something. You need like a Half-Life 3 or a Wii Sports. You need something that get people going crazy.
But on top of just the accessibility of like the actual hardware and the games, I think the UI goes a long way too. Like, having your grandma's, if you buy this thing if your grandma really wants VR, you buy her a PlayStation 4, you buy her the headset, you buy her all that stuff. Is she going to be able to set it up and navigate the PlayStation 4 UI and figure out all that stuff? Like, that's a whole nother thing that we take for granted, that maybe it's not that hard, but for someone like, even like my dad, like, he has no tech, like, he's not tech savvy at all. There's no way he'd be able to do this.
And this definitely isn't going for the casual gamer. It's definitely too probably high tech in a lot of ways. I think largely those are the people who are rolling their eyes at it, which they didn't do with the Wii. They totally get swinging a tennis racket.
Exactly.
Of that nature. So yeah, that's it's gonna be more your 20-something-year-olds that are gonna make this a thing. I mean, I really, like I said, if I had to bet, I would not say VR is going to last, but I think it is more interesting and worthy of continuing than anything since the Wii. And that, that includes like Kinect, PlayStation Move, all those other things. Like, it's really interesting, and I want to see what people can design with it.
For me personally, when it comes down to the longevity of VR, just thinking about it, I already have some games that are VR capable, and even though they're more traditional video games like Radial G and Redout and everything like that, and even though I found out that they're making a Serious Sam VR game, which I didn't know about, which I'm super stoked for. Yes. Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, Serious Sam VR. PC only, from what I understand at the moment, so Vive and probably Oculus Rift. But even beyond that, when it comes to why I want a Vive headset so much, it's all of the non-gaming stuff. I want Google Tilt Brush. I want to know what it's like to paint in a 3D space.
I was hoping that was on PlayStation VR. It's not.
It's not.
Yeah,
no,
I really wanted that one to show it off.
So
to people.
yeah,
when
it comes to whether or not VR has any standing legs, for me personally at the moment, it's all the non-gaming stuff that I'm interested in, and so it's one of those things where people outside of gaming developers and publishers, like, people have started making virtual reality movies. I really want to check out Alumet, which is a short film based on the Little Matchstick Girl.
It's really cool.
And then there's also another one called Invasion, which
I watched that one actually.
Yeah, and it's voiced by Ethan Hawke as one of the bunnies and everything like that. So you've got some major Hollywood talent behind there. And it's just aliens are invading the planet and two fluffy bunnies are there to save the day. And it's the idea of a VR movie kind of intrigues me and everything, and how that would unfold as opposed to a 3D movie or a 2D movie. And everything.
I actually watched those. Have you seen the shorts on them, Tommy, or are you just kind of aware?
I haven't seen the shorts. I was waiting. I haven't had a chance to check out the VR headset that we have here at the house. Those are going to be the first two things
They're really cool.
Rather than play a game.
They just kind of show off in a lot of ways. Another kind of beauty of VR, and it's not having a director or whoever in control of where you look. Like, not once. Like, I don't think I've even played, like, I'm not, Josh, you'll have to correct me, I'm not even sure if, like, in the London Heist, if there's ever a moment where it's a true cutscene. Like, I have never had my head movement and where I'm looking restrained from me in any way, shape, or form. And that's so cool. Like, Taisha was watching the little matchbook girl, and it was awesome because it wasn't just like you're not just like this
Yeah.
floating camera in the sky watching her. You're like, she was like moving around the environment. Like she goes into a house and, you know, my girlfriend was bending down low to like look in that house and stuff. It's way different. It's almost like you're creeping on a little living thing more than you're actually watching a movie. It's
Perfect.
It's interesting, right?
Which service were you using to watch that, or did you have to buy it?
No, I
I
think
think it's free.
I'm pretty sure they're on the
I'm
demo
pretty
disc.
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, they're on the demo disc.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually watched just the shitty 360 view, like you are in a sphere that is a movie screen.
Oh, okay.
It was not true VR. So.
Yeah, this one you can like go in, look around, and everything. People will still play out their predetermined roles, like the little girl in Alamet and everything like that. But you'll be able to control what perspective you see them from. If you want to see her and her mother, or if you just want to close in on her, or if you want to close in on the mother, you have control of that. So you get to be a little mini director in a way, or a mini camera op, and determine what you look at during the scene. But even beyond that, the reason why I wanted to check out Alamet is because it feels like the movie succeeds without needing the gimmick of VR. It feels like they actually made a good, heartwarming movie and told a nice story. And so they just also wanted to tell it in VR. So it kind of feels like that's also another thing it's gonna need to do, is just give you quality content irregardless of whether or not it's virtual reality, but also give you quality content that is only possible in VR.
Nice. Right on. So I suppose I guess I talked a little bit of myself about my games. Cameron, was there anything else besides Battlefield and VR that you played this week that?
I
just
played
talk
3
about?
games: Battlefield 1, PlayStation VR of all sorts, and Civilization 6.
Yes.
Yes. It's
Gandhi Returns.
It's really good. It's such an interesting game. Now, Civ 6 is funny. We have a friend, and I've seen this echoed on the internet by a handful of people. Certainly not the review scores. People are eating that up as far as critics go. But there's something about Civilization that makes people, like, when a new one comes out, they go, so it's probably the same as the last one, right? Like, it's because I guess it's the nature of its game. Like, we can have, you know, all sorts of iterations of all sorts of different games. We get all the way up until like the 13s, 14s, and 15s these days. Final Fantasy. But it's, or Dragon Quest, actually, Dragon Quest 11
Madden.
on the Nintendo system coming up. But yeah, Madden, of course. But yeah, Civilization, and it is actually pretty significantly different. Really, I've always respected Civ. I think a lot of people would probably still maybe say Civilization 2 is the all-time greatest Civ. I'm not sure how that conversation's gone the past 10 years or so. Civ 5 is a big deal, and that was actually the one that really sunk its teeth into me truly. And I really like, it's one of my most played games on PC by a mile. Civ 6 is way different. It's like, with Civ 5, you had your kind of your main game. You had your domination victory. You had your religion. You didn't have religion right away. Domination, culture, all that kind of stuff. And they kind of science. They kind of bolted on religion. They kind of bolted on diplomacy with city states, and they were good systems. What they've done with Civ 6 is kind of started fresh and fleshed everything out. Everything kind of has a pretty deep and elaborate kind of skill tree or way of playing the game. So now, like, I find myself way more interested in trying to play a Civilization with religion being its main focus, because there's way more things to do. It's kind of like its own game where you almost have to focus purely on religion, or vice versa with like city-state stuff that you'd always just do every now and then just to get, you know, more hammers here or more food sources there. Now it's like really deep systems, everything. One of the big differences is before you had kind of just one big tree, more or less your science tree, and you would just unlock things related to science, which would also unlock things that have to do with cultures, things that have to do with city states. In this one, you have your science tree, and at the same time, you're also earning culture points, and you're working on a social tree. And so they've kind of made it so you can pretty much not put anything into science, and you're gonna, you know, really be into your government, or the opposite way around, of course. The art style is incredible. They kind of made it a little more, a little more, you could say cartoony, a little more Civilization Revolution looking, but not fully. It's kind of a happy in the middle, and it just looks gorgeous when you want to explore that map. It's kind of like, it's like the Fog of War is a blank canvas, and as you kind of go along, you discover this really beautiful world.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
really good
it's
looking.
they've done a great job of the different civilizations. They feel before they were good, and I think maybe they had possibly better leaders, at least the leaders that were a little more recognizable in Civ 5. And this one, there's less, which is, because we had 2 expansions on Civ 5, so that's a little jarring. But there's 20 civilizations, and they feel really unique, really fleshed out, especially as far as like what really makes them feel like the civilization they're supposed to be. Like America has, plus 10 combat when it's on its own continent. Kind of things like that, things that really do kind of reflect the culture. Japan gets crafting from fishing boats. That's the religion. Japan's the only one who can make the electronics factory. Stuff like that, of course. But really killer game. It's hard to explain what's so much better about it, but it really is significantly better than Civ 5. When the last Civilization, it was the spin-off Beyond Earth, came out, it was one that even at its best, I could see myself going back to Civ 5. I'm not looking back. The Civilization 6, 100%. Like, if I'm going to play any more Civilization going forward, it is 100% Civilization 6. Like, they did that, which I'm really impressed by.
Is that unusual? Is there usually a reason to go back?
They do. The numbers are so spread out that probably not normally with Civilization, really. I mean, this is to be only at their 5th numbered sequel after they've been going for so long. They do pretty big spaces in between them. But Beyond Earth really was kind of a disappointment. It was supposed to be their sci-fi one.
Pretty big stinker.
Yeah, it just didn't have it.
Yeah, if you're looking for the Civilization experience, Beyond Earth wasn't giving it to a lot of people, so that's why they went back to 5 and everything like that.
It really is. It's a great improvement on a really good franchise.
Yeah, I have questions. I haven't played a Civ game a lot since Civ 2, not because I think any of them were bad. It's just because I didn't have the time. I sank so much time into Civilization 2. I think I burned myself out on the series a little bit. I never got a chance to get started on 5, and actually when I was just about to dive into it, they announced Civ 6. I think Cameron is the one that told me about Civ 6, so I was just like, all right, I'll just wait. But it sounds like what you're saying when you're describing the civilizations. In previous Civ games, irregardless of what nation that I played, I would have a tech tree or an advancement through the ages, Stone Age, Bronze Age, Middle Age, everything like that, and more or less follow the same tree. But now some civilizations prioritize their religious aspect over a technological aspect and everything like that. So, am I understanding that right? Where instead of just giving every nation maybe some buffs and some debuffs, but more or less following the same tech path to get a science victory, so to speak. Like, there are actual different roads to play out the game with a civilization if a nation is more religious based or more technological based or anything like that. Like, do they actually feel different?
They've always had the themed bonuses, based off of true history. I mean, as far as I know, they always have. And Civ 5, of course, had that. In Civ 6, it's not so much about those bonuses. It's more about the kind of openness of the gameplay itself with all these new trees and all these different kind of roads to go down. Like, a great thing I was thinking about today is Civilization 5. It got to the point where, you either were going, pretty much A or B. One was pretty much, I can't remember the names right now, but one was pretty much democracy. The other one was traditionalism, I want to say. I think it was liberty and traditionalism. And everybody, if you were playing competitive play or even if you're just playing casually, you always went with either one or the other, and then you either always built a monument and then a spy, or 2 spies and then a monument, and that was
irregardless of which nation you were playing. No
matter what, even if your plan was to any sort of victory at the end, that is how you started. That's completely different in 6. Not at all. It's really it's almost maybe a little intimidating because you almost want to have your game plan from turn 1 in a lot of ways. It's not going to kill you on harder difficulties. It's going to kill you, but you really do want to kind of have an idea of which way you're going, because it isn't kind of, so generalized. It isn't so kind of one size fits all like it was in Civ 5. You can go the entire game without ever getting archery. Like before, you for some reason archery would connect to another tree. They somehow roped it into something. But this one, it's seriously like okay, I got my animal handling, and then I can get archery, or I can completely pass it up because I'm not doing early warfare in any way, shape, or form. Like, yeah, it really
Okay.
is very, very different depending on how you want to play it.
Yeah, because I remember playing Civ 2, and as much as I enjoyed it, irregardless of which nation I played, I more or less was playing out the same type of strategy and everything like that. So it's nice to know that it sounds like there's actual thematic differences to the nations that I'm playing. Because it would be odd to choose a nation like, let's see, one that is maybe more culturally grounded or religiously grounded, and tech them up to early warfare so that they can battle the Greeks. That makes hardly any sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. And and you can do anything you want. Of course, that wouldn't be proper to general video gaming if you couldn't. I mean, it's not going to kill you if you want to be a warmonger with Gandhi, or if you want to do anything weird like that. But it definitely really leans you a direction, and it's really rewarding to follow that path this go around.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, I suppose at this point we'll go ahead and take an actual break this time. I'm going to actually get up and leave and get myself a nice glass of water because, man, I need that. So, anyways, we shall return. All right, and we're back. So, I hope all you guys are nice and well rested. We took a much longer break than we typically do, which is kind of the opposite of last week. So, yeah, lots of really crazy stuff happened last week, and it was really cool. One of the bigger announcements, Nintendo Switch, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited. Trepidatious, but excited.
I don't know if you're going to get a whole lot of criticism from any of us. It was like perfect in my book. And I mean, there's a few questions that we'll certainly talk about, but man,
there are certainly questions.
I love the name. I love the general idea behind it. I love kind of the direction that it seems like they're going. Just good vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, obviously, even Nintendo themselves came out, like, all of the video on the TVs and the handhelds, it's totally pre-rendered. I mean, that's totally obvious. Some of the bigger questions, though, are, obviously, battery life. That's a really big deal.
I think that's the big one, really.
Nintendo, they came out and said that the battery life was going to be modest. So,
so Josh, what is the Nintendo Switch? Before we get too
we're
far.
getting a little ahead of ourselves, huh?
Good point. Yeah.
The Nintendo Switch is essentially the Nintendo NX that we've kind of heard about and known about for a little while now. Essentially, it is a home console and it is a mobile console at the same time. When you're at home, you have a docking port for Nintendo Switch where essentially plays from TV, but then when you're on the go, you slide out a tablet and basically slide controllers to it, or you can use the controllers, slide controller grips on either sides of the screen, or those can be used as wireless controllers, and it also has a Pro controller set up for it as well too. But yeah, essentially it is supposed to marry the home console and mobile gaming platforms together into one. And it sounds incredibly exciting, to essentially take all of your best games from both the handheld console, or the handhelds and the home consoles, and put them on the same system. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's pretty sweet stuff. Like, I just love how they attach the detachable controllers onto it, and they just slide it out of the dock, and immediately the video jumps from TV to the handheld. Obviously, it's just probably a video port disconnecting. See, I was reading. I mean, obviously, Nintendo's gonna, sugarcoat things, but I was reading that they're trying to make their battery life as long as possible, like through development. That was one of their things they were constantly thinking about, was trying to have decent battery life. I mean, compared to say like the Vita or things that we've kind of come to expect from systems. I'm really curious on a touchscreen. A lot of the patents that they filed that are related to this, patents can be a really weird thing. Sometimes, they just toss stuff on there to cover the bases, but most of the patents they filed do involve it having a touchscreen, which I certainly hope it does for a bunch of different reasons.
I think it has to have a touchscreen, honestly. It's too... Also, every screen out there right now has a touchscreen, and Nintendo has such an investment in making touchscreens a thing that it would blow my mind if it didn't have one.
That's what I keep coming back to, is that it's not even so much about backwards compatibility as far as, the digital stuff goes, which is a huge thing. To me, it's more about consumers. Like, we have kids we have a tiny little 20-inch TV on our counter. We have kids who just run up to it and start poking at it. Like, we're pretty much trained to, if there's a screen that's smaller than a couple feet, it's probably a touchscreen nowadays. So yeah, I think they would be kind of shooting themselves not to at least do a simple touchscreen. It takes game cards, is what they're calling it. People are wondering if they're going to be if the system's going to be SD based or not. That's giving Nintendo troubles in the past with, say, like Project M, stuff of that nature. SD is kind of an open format. All sorts of different questions for sure. They really gave us kind of a teaser, but if they deliver on what they're kind of showing us, I'm super excited for it. Like, it looks like they're kind of going for, they seem like they were trying to address a little more of the core gamer. They didn't show any kids in this commercial. They didn't show any old people in this commercial. There wasn't any motion, even if it has a weird form of motion. People are saying there might be an infrared sensor on it. But still, it's more about their direction, and it seems like they're trying to direct it a little more towards the core gamers who've kind of always held Nintendo up.
Yep. Yeah. This video was, in my mind, a direct response to the Wii U's confusion, because this video just totally hit it on the head. There's a guy playing in his living room. His dog's barking at him and wants to go outside. He takes the screen out of the dock. He's playing it at the park. There's no confusion about what that is. It's not, oh, is this a tablet for my game console I already have? No, like, this is what you do. There's no superfluous information in this direct. It's just purely information that is got people really excited. I was excited about it. I still am. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's interesting because I have heard a little bit, mostly speculation by word of mouth, talking to people, talking to some of the skeptics, but I've heard that it does have, what they have mentioned about its like processor and stuff, is it does not meet exactly the current gens of the other systems' processing capabilities. So it's kind of a wash of wondering if it's going to be able to perform as well as the other systems. Because I know that they do show a considerable amount of Skyrim Enhanced Edition during the trailer, but again, that was all pre-render. We don't know how it's going to work. Nintendo's always been really good with things like optimization, especially if it's cart-based, because, you can read faster with carts, and so that kind of takes away some of that strain, but it's one of those things where I'm curious to know how competitive it's going to be.
Essentially, for the most part, it's running the NVIDIA Tegra chip in there, which, Cameron, your NVIDIA Shield has that in it, so it's probably going to be like a modified, overclocked version of it, but for better or worse, that's kind of that is the hardware that it's running. And when it comes to power save on that, NVIDIA has an interesting mobile battery save technology, and I'm not quite sure if that's integrated into the Tegra, the first Tegra chip or not. So I don't know. There's still a lot of questions to be asked about the hardware overall, but I don't know. It seems like the videos that they're showing of them playing the games are definitely not going to be near. I think they're shooting kind of high with the hardware that they've announced so far.
Yeah,
it's interesting too, because it is important that the only kind of, you could say, multi-platform or third-party game that they showed was Skyrim HD, and it's kind of beautiful how well that kind of, I guess, trick worked, because we are kind of thinking, hey, that's Xbox One, PS4 stuff, and it is, sure, but really it's a 5-year-old game with enhanced shaders and stuff. It's not a multi-platform, a true multi. We're not seeing Witcher 3 on there, or Metal Gear Solid 5 or anything along those lines. And to me, it's with it being mobile, that's going to be kind of a sacrifice, much like somebody who puts a bunch of money into a gaming laptop compared to somebody who puts far less money into a gaming desktop. I think that's just the nature of the beast. That
Yeah.
won't be a problem, I don't think, as long as the first party stuff's there. And they do improve their second and third party stuff. That's undeniable. Wii U and even the Wii had really rough third party support.
We're talking the thing that I think I'm most excited about, because personally I am definitely going to buy it at launch. I'm going to pre-order it. I'm going to get it. I've always been a big fan of Nintendo, just fanning over here. But I think the thing I'm most excited for is games like Monster Hunter and Pokemon, because I know a lot of people that really enjoy Monster Hunter, several of the people on this podcast, but they hate playing it on handheld, and so I can never play with anybody because I'm the only person that thinks the 3DS doesn't hurt their hands, because I have tiny baby hands.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and it's crazy that we'll actually be getting a Pokemon experience on a console in a sense, especially one made by Game Freaks, so like a true Pokemon experience. Like I tell people this story all the time. I remember being at a cafeteria table at our elementary school talking about how cool Pokemon 64 would be, and here we are 20 years later. Like, come on. So that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question then. In regards to being able to take the console experience on the go and everything like that. One thing I know multiple people here who grew up playing Pokemon have brought up with the 3DS is a portable Pokemon Snap. If they actually found a way to do that with the Switch, how excited would you be?
I'm kind of disappointed that these early showings in the teaser, because the patents, again, these patents are really interesting, they don't have a camera on the back. Like they definitely show the back of the system, and there isn't a camera, which I think I would love. If there's a stupid trend right now that I would like to see Nintendo take on, it isn't VR. It isn't a lot of these other things. It's kind
AR.
of it's kind of augmented reality.
Yeah.
It's kind of Pokemon Snap. I would like to see them maybe do that, even if it's gimmicky. Like imagine if it's just a mini game where you can go out and explore Hyrule in a silly little shitty augmented reality game. I'm still interested in that.
Yeah, because Pokemon Go wasn't a traditional Pokemon game, but it also didn't really capture the sense of Pokemon Snap, hearing people talk about it.
Yeah, no, and we've wanted a Pokemon Snap successor, especially with the Wii U and the 3DS and their kind of motion gyroscope stuff they have going on, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Quest 11 is supposed to launch on this, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know the launch lineup, but I believe first 3 months it's
Isn't that an MMO?
Oh, nice.
10 might be the MMO. I get confused. We haven't got 10 or 11 yet in the States. I want to say 11 might be the actual RPG.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think 10 is the MMO.
We're probably wrong though.
I'm pretty sure.
We like to be wrong.
They're both the MMO and not at the same time.
Yeah.
There we go. Bases covered.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I suppose, overall it's a really cool, really, really compelling stuff. And, really, we're all definitely going to be keeping our eyes on it. Hopefully Nintendo has more to talk about it soon. But I think we'll go ahead and keep moving along here. The next big thing that happened, and almost seems like kind of got overshadowed because of the Switch announcement, is a new announcement for Red Dead 2. Yeah, first off, I suppose, the last episode, we were talking about it, and, again, saying shit and being wrong, as I am. I think I remember saying that it would be like a week's worth of build-up before we get the trailer, and boom, next day, trailer came. Or the announcement for a trailer came, so... But it looks really, really good. I think all of us here has seen... You watched the trailer yet, Tommy? Or
yeah. Oh, yeah. I did
Red Dead
actually
2
see the trailer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I think all of us here watched it. Looks really crazy. And I think one of the more disappointing things is when mentioning the platforms for the...
No PC.
Yeah, no PC.
I was talking with a friend.
That hurts.
The same friend who was skeptic about the Switch, but I was talking to a friend on this topic, and we kind of agreed that neither of us would be surprised if Red Dead 2 comes out on all the consoles, and Rockstar is like, okay, cool, PC gamers, we have something for you as well, and we're all just yay, and like, here, Red Dead Redemption 1 on PC now. and then you just begrudgingly buy it anyway, and you're just like, fine, I guess I'll take this and just play
I
it
think
anyway.
there's a lot of people.
Like, it would sell.
Probably would play that.
I would buy it.
It's so interesting too because like the argument with it not being on PC is like, well, Grand Theft Auto 5 didn't come out on PC, and like, yeah, like the timeline, I had to look it up. It's PS3, Xbox 360. They got it September 2013. Then Xbox One, PS4, November 2014, and then PC. And I remember this being delayed a few times after, you know, it was supposed to be closer to the PS4, Xbox One. It got all the way to April 2015. So it's just weird. Like, are there games, like, obviously their games are amazing. So are their games just like too intense to just easily bring over to the PC?
They may just want to concentrate on the developing the game proper than having to port it to a new system.
It's like
probably just their style.
Are the quality of their games so good that we give them a free pass on this stuff when other things, dare I say, because I'm going to probably bring it up every single podcast we ever record, like The Witcher 3, are able to do seamless PC, Xbox One, PS4 releases? Like, at what point are we giving them a free pass for neglecting a huge market? I mean, it's going to be...
Myself, personally,
I'll buy it on the console because of this, but...
Because I still haven't picked up GTA 5, even though it's on PC. I missed the boat, and there's too much stuff for me to play, so...
Yeah.
If I bought GTA 5 for anything, it would not be to actually play the game, but to make stuff with all the mod packs that they released.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge game. I mean, one of the biggest games on YouTube by a mile, Grand Theft Auto 5. Up there with Minecraft and what have you. So I wonder how many of those people are on PC.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I do, let's say they do release Red Dead Redemption 2 for PC, I will probably look at it the same way I did Mafia 3. The setting really drew me into Mafia 3. And I've been wanting to play a good Western probably since Outlaws, all the way back in the late 90s or early 2000s. I can't remember when I picked it up. But Gun, not great.
Wow.
Didn't enjoy it.
Yeah,
Red Dead Redemption, missed. Red Dead Revolver, never played that one.
So you haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5 or Red Dead Redemption yet?
Nope.
Tommy.
Or 4.
Nope. I think I'd say Red Dead's more important than GTA in my book, as far as you go. Especially,
I hear that a lot.
You appreciate story so much. You'd like Red Dead a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, I mean, Thomas Jane does the voice, and I'm a sucker for Thomas Jane voice work. So,
but on Red Dead 2, just a couple thoughts. You know, a lot of the promotional stuff they showed was 7 people. So it certainly seems like it's taken on that 7 Samurai, Magnificent 7, Hateful Eight, yada yada yada. Which I hope they do a good job of that. People wonder if they're going to be jumping through perspectives like what was so popular in Grand Theft Auto 5. I think 7's a bit much to do at once. They'll probably group it up. If they do that at all, who knows? This is all, of course, speculation. I think the name is a little unfortunate. Not going to dwell on it too much, but I feel like they like to detach themselves from Red Dead Revolver. It was a different team, so I get that. They want to maybe really have redemption, kind of like Metal Gear Solid, as opposed to Metal Gear Rising, you know. I guess. I really just think they lost a great opportunity. Like, they could make, obviously they won't because they're Rockstar, but they could have made 10 Red Dead games, and as long as they kept changing the R word at the end, I wouldn't have got sick of the idea of it. I think titles and numbers have a powerful effect on kind of your subconscious in that way.
I think it just
who cares?
straight
It's going
comes
to be a
down
great
to
game.
like,
yeah, it's marketing, so.
Yeah, it is. I think that it's just, you know, a lot of people that buy Rockstar games are people who buy like 1 or 2 games a year. You know, people who buy Grand Theft Auto 5 are people who have a PS4 or a PS3 or a 360 and bought that game and Call of Duty. So somebody who isn't really up on this stuff and just walks in the store and sees Red Dead Redemption 2, that screams, oh, that's the sequel to Red Dead Redemption. I love that game. But if they walk in and see Red Dead Rising, they may not know.
Yeah, I think
they're gonna ask.
I think they're
like
dumb in this situation. I totally get your point. I think that's what guided this decision. I think that was a silly. I think you're not giving people enough credit that they can't recognize 2 words, and you got to make sure to have that third with a number after it.
I actually asked a coworker about this. A coworker who plays video games, not super hardcore, not exactly casually, just sort of on and off. And I asked him, and his take on it was definitely that with his limited knowledge of video games, he kind of could build up a basis of which games were canonical sequels and which ones were just numbered sequels for the sake of numbers. And he told me that it for him personally, it has almost no bearing whether or not the game is numbered or titled for its sequels. Because I asked him about Red Dead Redemption, and I asked him if he'd be more likely to buy it, because I asked him if he'd played Red Dead Redemption, he said no. And then I asked him if he would be more likely to buy Red Dead Redemption 2 if it was labeled 2, or if it was labeled something like Red Dead Retribution, and his take on it was essentially that if it was the same story, he'd be less likely to play it because he would want to play the first game, and he doesn't want to have to go back and play the first game. But if it is... It's like less based off the title and more based off the content, which I guess goes way back to don't judge a book by its cover, don't judge a game by its title. There's some really great games with terrible titles.
Yeah, I think in a vacuum, most people would probably say that it doesn't change their opinion one way or the other. But I think things affect people in ways they do not know. And I'm really, you're future-proofing yourself. It's not like Red Dead's ever probably going to get to the Red Dead Redemption 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's where you really start to roll your eyes at things. They'll never go past probably Red Dead Redemption 3. Does the number of Red Dead Redemption 2 imply that this must have to do with John Marston? That this must have to do with Red Dead Redemption in a storyline?
I hope
it's tricky.
Not. I don't know. I really enjoyed Red Dead Redemption and like the characters in there. Like I think that some characters that were introduced with Redemption should have a part or a role if it fits with Red Dead Redemption 2. I am very satisfied overall with John Marston as a character and the amount of information I was given in the first game. It seems like it kind of cheapens the character if they go back and explain more, or I don't know. I think it's good where they left it.
Like, the easiest way to kind of get a gauge for me is I haven't played a Grand Theft Auto game since GTA 3. Have any of the subsequent games been any way, shape, or form related to previous iterations? Is there stuff in 4 and 5 that I would know from 3?
That's what I was going to say, too. Their Grand Theft Auto franchise doesn't follow that at all.
It's like Final Fantasy. It's a number at a time.
Very
I feel like you're comparing
here and there.
I think that's the problem. I think we've been talking about names all for a while now, and I think that's the problem right there. Is there's no rhyme or reason to this stuff. Like, Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, they continue Shepard's story. What do they do when you're not doing Shepard's story? You're doing Andromeda. So I mean, they give it a different name to tell people this is a different story.
Well,
but
at the same time, people have been
Rockstar's
groomed with Grand Theft Auto that the numbered sequels aren't going to be the same story. So, it's one of those things where
do we want to take bets right now? Obviously, we're just speculating, but I bet Marston's in this game. I'm pretty sure the main dude, the one who's foremost on the advertisement, is certainly him, and I think it's probably a prequel.
Okay, cool.
I think it might take place. I think it might take place slightly ahead. They have things like electric lights in the trailer. It depends. If it's in a more industrialized part of the country than the Mexican border, like it was in Red Dead Redemption, then it really could be the same time, and you're just in a more progressive area. But there was like electric lights, things that weren't terribly common in the first game. But I think it might be told in retrospect, and I think it could be about John Marston and his time with the gang.
I think... Oh, shit, because there's 7. Anyway, I am going to just obligatorily bet in the opposite direction, saying it is a different game, and I will even go further on my bet to say that your main character is, at least one of the main characters you play as, is not going to be like a John Marston type, like he's going to be like Irish or something.
Oh, I think they're all going to be extremely different. I think you'll have a Native American, and I think you'll have like a butch type of character.
I've got a small little theory, just a small little theory I got working up here. Just what you said about how like character swapping between different characters of Grand Theft Auto 5 was kind of a big thing for them. I don't know if you guys like went to the site and read any of that stuff, but they're supposed you have like the Heartland. It's kind of like the mainland. You also have Mexico, but then there's supposed to be like a Rocky Mountains region, but then also a Bayou region. And it kind of got me thinking, what if we are doing these character swapping things, but they are in totally separate maps altogether? Like, what if this is like the first Grand Theft Auto game where you have massive expansive maps, but then you also have entirely different regions with their own massive maps.
Huh. Interesting.
That'd be cool. Would people be okay with? I mean, would that be acceptable in a world where you can like sail to Skellige, or you can go from one edge of Grand Theft Auto 5 to the other? Like, would people view that as instancing the world essentially?
I suppose, I mean, like, I think Witcher did it really, really well, and Witcher felt really, really big.
And you can't
expansive.
truly walk from one side to the other.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
Is that, like, I'm wondering if maybe they do this, because, like, the image that they release kind of invokes, like, you know, a posse coming together, and, you know, I wonder if it's kind of like...
What if you play that story of them coming together, and you start in their disparate segments, and then they join in the Heartland or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
you play as the character starting out in the bayou, and then he eventually meets the guy who's coming up from Mexico or the Rockies and everything like that. Like, you play through the origin story is kind of what you're saying?
Something
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
We'll
I mean,
see.
I'm sure...
It'll be Cody versus me, Marston or not. Well, this will be fun to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just...
I think I'm just gonna...
crackpot shit.
I'm gonna
Hey, dude,
totally
watch it be
cheat
like
right
time
now.
travel, and we're both right, and Josh was especially right.
Let's see here.
No.
I'm just cheating right now and looking
Speculating
at Tom
aside,
Jane's
100% though,
for
I think
credits.
I think we totally got to acknowledge that this is the first Rockstar game being made from the ground up on the current generation of systems. So that's
I'm
really
excited.
exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Nice.
Yep.
As much as they've tricked us to think GTA 5 is, it is not. So yeah, this will be awesome.
Well, I suppose while Tommy's checking out the IMDb to see if there's any
Tom Jane screen credits for Red Dead
screen
Redemption
credits
2.
whatsoever, I think we'll go ahead and start switching into our top 100 games of last generation. To which I will go ahead and hand the reins over to Cameron.
Speaking of Red Dead Redemption, which will certainly
Right.
be up there. I've actually been thinking about exactly where. That's a discussion for another cast. We are going to be doing our top 100. We kind of mentioned it last podcast. It is going to be an interesting journey. Do bear with us. There's probably going to be a lot more interrupting and arguing than normal. We definitely feel the need to say disclaimer, insert big red copyright screen here. This is our list. It's going to get kind of based off of our personal opinion of games. Don't view anything as a slight for not to be on the list, or especially since we're dealing with 110 games total here, that your personal favorite isn't that high on the list. This really does come down to kind of what we value for a number of different reasons. Some of us are going to be going for more, their personal take on the game. Other of us will be going for kind of, the notoriety or the industry side. We'll get there one way or another, though.
And if you disagree with us, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. I'd
We'd
love
to
that.
hear from you.
Because
Angry comments.
different
Please.
games for
All
different
caps.
Not
types.
super angry.
It's gonna get angry between the five of us. So, we're doing a number 75 through 100, and also 10 honorable mentions. We essentially have a bottom category here. We have kind of pre-tiered these games. So if you don't hear a game like, say, Red Dead Redemption or anything like that you think, how can this not be being talked about? It's because it's probably higher on the list, or the game's bad and it's not on this list, so deal with it. So...
Roasted.
Oh, yeah.
So
Opinions feel so good.
So that's our little intro there. I'm not exactly sure how we're gonna kick it off here. We essentially need to, I will quickly, as fun as it is to hear a list of 35 games, I will very quickly say these games for us. Legend of Zelda, and this is in no particular order right now. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, Enslaved Odyssey to the West, Mirror's Edge, Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise. Oh, and sorry, I'm going to interrupt real quick. The something about our rules and how we listed. Each game is, we lump certain games together. Things like Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, things like, say, Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Revelation. Those all are going to be lumped together because they kind of are essentially, most of them are the same game engine. Most of them are generally the same concept. So we're trying to pick the best of that concept to represent it. Now, certain games like Grand Theft Auto 5 to Grand Theft Auto 4, BioShock Infinite to BioShock 1, or even BioShock 2, BioShock 1 and 2 would be lumped together. those are different enough that they will be listed separately. A little strange, but by doing this, it kind of represents more games.
You're going to have to explain to me the Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5 when we get there, because I haven't played either one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just it's
And I'm
more about how
interested why it's
significantly
two
different
separate
games they are.
iterations.
I mean, we're talking different game engine. We're talking 5 years of development apart. I mean, it's night and day if you play the games in my book.
We'll cross that slippery Russian bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
It's our own arbitrary rules.
Cousin, but no, more or less. I
And
think
they
it makes
change all the
I
time.
think it makes a lot of sense, and I think it shows off way more games. So, yeah. Well, but again, write into us if you disagree with stuff. Here we go. Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword, Enslaved Odyssey to the West, Mirror's Edge, Viva Pinata: Trouble in Paradise, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, Dragon Age Origins, God of War 3, Darksiders, Hitman: Blood Money, Red Faction Guerrilla, Call of Duty Black Ops, Sonic Generation, Sleeping Dogs, Dante's Inferno, Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, yes, it's this low, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Valkyria Chronicles, Dragon's Dogma, Mario Kart Wii, Condemned Criminals Origins, Forza Horizon, Lost Planet 2, Warhammer 40k Space Marine, Fable 2, Just Cause 2, Skylanders, Dead Rising, Dance Central, Resident Evil 5, Zack and Wiki Quest for Barbados' Treasure, Lego game series as a whole, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, Lost Odyssey, Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution, and Super Paper Mario. So, like I said, that's a crazy huge list of 35 games. We're gonna just talk about them. We'll be throwing games out randomly, ones that we believe. I think how we should do this is the 5 of us maybe taking turns, or really just trying to do this in an orderly fashion. We say the games that deserve to be in the higher part of this tier and potentially even bumped up, and then the games that deserve to be honorable mentions, or, your 90 to 100. Again, any game that is on this list. I mean, a ton of games came out on 360, PS3. So any of these games, fantastic games. Play every single one of these if you get a chance.
Yeah, I think we should go through and just name the ones that we feel like should be on the actual list and not an honorable mention, and just pull those out first.
Yeah.
Pull out the
do a
honorable
super
mentions.
Do a super rough run where we just take turns and then we say, well, I suppose if we take turns, is what was 35, so that's
yeah.
six
Well, I mean,
turns.
if we go through 5 rounds, we can easily pick out the games that deserve to be on the list for sure.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's just take turns picking out games that we think should be on the
And
100 list.
Let's try to prioritize it. I'll keep track of what turn you nominate ones, and that might help us decide what's 75, what's 90, what's 100.
Sure.
So, I mean, really pick the one that you like on this red tier.
Okay.
And since I'm the host, I'm going to vote that I do not start. I'm not the host, but I'm hosting this top 100. So, yeah.
I suppose
I'm working the
I
Excel
suppose
sheet,
as
so
moderator, I will start this.
there we go.
This off, and then since Tommy's across the table from me, he unfortunately will be next.
Yay, by default.
That's a good.
And then
that's a
from
good name.
there, we will do Cameron, and then Cody, and then Cain.
It's like, don't make me last. Don't make me last.
All right. Oh boy. And so I'm supposed to go first. That's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm gonna start it off.
Pick a keeper, Josh.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pick Warhammer 40k.
Damn.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel that strongly about it.
Nice.
All
I
right.
like it. Okay. Next is Tommy.
All right. Honestly, you're going to hear this phrase a lot from me when we're talking about this list. I did not play a lot of these games. I missed a whole lot of the last generation. There's only 2 games that I really feel strongly enough about that I would want in the list proper, and it's between Mirror's Edge and Lost Odyssey. And based on concept alone, Mirror's Edge gets my first vote.
Nice. Definitely worthy. I'm next, aren't I? I guess in a lot of ways, forget what I said about when you nominate them. I think that's going to make us overthink this stuff. Really just pick ones that you deserve to be on the top 100. And with that said, You guys are making me the Oblivion guy, but it deserves to be on the top 100. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Just right away.
Oh god.
And we are totally alienating a
man.
huge,
It's
huge
just
percentage of gamers here.
Cross
Let that
you
be
have
said.
to carry alone.
yeah, exactly.
A lot of people love.
I'm not gonna speak for all of us. I respect Oblivion. It is in the lower part of this list, so I respect it only so much. But expect some hate. Please don't take offense. Cough, cough, Cain.
Oh, okay.
I recognize that people love Oblivion.
Yes.
And I recognize that it is an influential game.
Thank you, Donald
I
Trump.
Yeah,
That's a
I
very
understand
neutral
Oblivion
statement.
is a game.
It is a game.
I recognize that Oblivion is definitely a proof of concept.
Oh man.
I recognize that Oblivion came out later than Morrowind, therefore being on this list.
This
I
Anyway.
realized
turned
that
into
you're-
like the Elder Scrolls support group or something.
All right.
like that.
I realized
Okay.
that you're stalling because it's your pick.
Yeah.
Alright, Cody.
So my vote. I was gonna say vote, but it came out voice. My vote is god. I also did not play a lot of these because I'm a poor person. But I'm gonna go out and be that person that says Lego game series.
Nice.
It was kind of a big
It's
deal.
good.
Yeah,
I think it's a good
Yeah,
pick.
it's good
No.
stuff.
See, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun.
I like
on the
that
ones
better
you
than
don't pick.
Oblivion.
Okay, I'm going to pick the best 2D platformer of this generation.
Oh,
Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Nice. That might
That's
be
good. I saw
that could be a nominee to move up. We'll see. We'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge towards the end of this segment.
Thus ends round 1. That was easy. That was easy.
yeah,
Yep,
this is
keep going.
this is the
Yeah.
It gets
Wait
better
until there's
from here.
like little to no options.
We're not
left.
even ordering them yet.
All right. So, round 2. Round 2.
God.
Like if you need more time, I can go first this time.
No. So, I'm going to do the other Josh game that's on here, all right? And, yeah, if you haven't seen that coming, that's going to be Dante's Inferno.
Oh god.
Damn.
I was looking
I
at Forza
agree here.
Horizon.
See, this is the friendly part. The part where it's gonna get ugly is when we're deciding where it goes.
Yeah. So, I don't feel like I owe you guys any explanations yet, but I'll be glad to offer them later. If we have
There's a
time.
platinum
So-
trophy in it. It's easy to get. That's what
I
it is.
I already know what Kane's round 2 vote is going to be. I have
Alright.
a feeling.
So, Tommy, your round 2 pick?
My round 2 vote, like I said, Lost Odyssey.
Okay.
Nice. I think it is the underrated RPG that deserves to be acknowledged at least. Cool game. Hard to
Let's
find
see.
now. Oh,
I'm gonna-
Oh, sorry, Cody. I'm third. Man, it's kind of. You know what? Easy. Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise. Boom.
Thank you. You took
There
that
you go.
one.
Love
Cool.
that game.
That's
Love
good.
it.
If you didn't pick it, I was doing it next.
Yeah, right. Such a great game. Might also be worthy of moving up.
Yeah, some of these are right on the fringe.
Yeah, fucking shit. Jesus. Okay. Wonderful. I'm gonna go Enslaved, Odyssey to the West.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that was my next one, man. Good.
Haha, stole it from you.
We swear engines.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick maybe a controversial pick here.
Oh God.
Oh, here it comes.
Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword.
Whoa, that was not what I was expecting.
But equally controversial.
It is
Yeah.
definitely controversial. Yeah. I mean, we're not at a veto point or anything by any means yet. I'm gonna argue for it to be in the bottom 10.
Again,
Okay.
haven't played it. I just
really
wanted to
thought
say
you were gonna
something.
go for RE5, Cain.
We're getting there.
See, we're allowing Cain to put all of his bad games on here.
How many
No.
rounds are we doing?
We are doing 5.
5? Oh, okay.
We're
So
at the top of round 3.
Top of the third.
Right. At which point in the third round, I'm the first person that has to pick a game, and I'm stalling because I
so
don't
longer
know.
because I got nothing.
And I was gonna say, and for me, it's not exactly because all the options are so good. I'm kind of feeling more like, which ones do I want to, there's some lesser games here in a sense, top 100 for sure, but
Yeah.
I haven't played a lot of these, and some of the ones that I have played, I'm fine being bottom of the list or honorable mention at this point.
You know what? I got it. All right. Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too much hate for that game, but it was fantastic.
Oh, I love it.
Just from a goofing off, creating point of view.
I just
Had a-
trash on
had a lot
Skyward
of
Sword
character.
with one breath, and I just love Nuts and Bolts with the next. Like, this is gonna be just a funny segment. Yeah.
I have no words.
See, yeah, I was gonna say. So many feathers ruffled.
All right. So at this point, I guess, Tommy, you're picking games that you respect the most.
Yeah, probably.
That needs to happen in a lot of ways. Like, none of us are the biggest Call of Duty fans, but Call of Duty Black Ops is a good game. Things of that nature.
All right, so I'll kind of preface, since I'm starting to move outside of my wheelhouse of stuff that I've actually played with. When it comes to things that I'm critical of, I don't know how many people here are familiar with John Milton, but he's the guy who came up with the I Heart New York sign design and everything like that. And he had a very specific way that he looks at creative works, is that he looks at them as work instead of art. And his view and philosophy is something that is made that didn't meet expectations, people defend it as bad art. Well, he sees that as bad work. Stuff that has met expectations, good work. Stuff that has exceeded expectations and become something more, like a Star Wars or a Star Trek or something like that. The crazy things that people do in Grand Theft Auto, that is great work. So with that being said, I'm trying to look at the stuff that's left on the list
Enough
and see
stalling, yeah.
and see what kind of, like, even though I played Condemned, but there's stuff on this list I know I should put higher than it. So it's between Generations and Revolution. And I know people have been like Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution, that was just people on console finally got to experience a solid Sid Meier strategy game. But Sonic Generations, it feels like it helped give Sonic some legitimacy again.
The best thing I can say about Sonic Generations is that it was the best of the bad Sonic games.
Yeah, I know. Like, that's it's just I
Yeah,
mean,
It makes you
I'm
wonder
gonna go
why.
with-
Makes you wonder why you remember certain games. Like, is it for the game itself, or is it for things like that, the things that surround it?
yeah,
I
or
don't know.
like
I really enjoyed Sonic Generations. To be totally honest,
I know.
it was well done.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine.
As was Colors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the thing, is that, and I'm trying to view it outside of the lens of comparing it to 06 and everything like that, because it's like first class after X-Men Origins Wolverine. Anything's better. But given that, trying to look at it objectively, I'm probably going to go with Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution.
All right.
Because console games that was the first for a lot of console gamers, and I think it's underappreciated.
It'd help if it was easier to find.
It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, Lost Odyssey.
Like, not even now, so many years after. Like, even when it came out, it was a hard game to find.
Yeah, Lost Odyssey, great game. You can pick it up for $10. Revolution, really solid game, great game. 30 or 40.
All right, someone has
sucks.
to be a little less biased, a little less personal here to make sure this list doesn't turn into a freaking fan service Reddit community nonsense. So I'm gonna go ahead and completely step outside my personal zone, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that Dragon Age Origins definitely deserves to be in the top 100.
Someone has to recommend it, Cameron, and it's not going to be me.
I was gonna say it is our list, but some of these games are good, rather they
Yeah,
scratched
yeah.
our itch
No.
or not. So I will be that voice.
I agree.
Ooh,
I-
I already know my next pick.
I wouldn't have picked it myself, but I do realize that like all of my friends fucking love Dragon Age because they didn't play Neverwinter Nights.
See, a lot of my
Anyway,
a lot of my horses in this race too, like Red Faction Gorilla. I'm totally fine if it's just an honorable mention. Like, I'm happy that it made the
yeah.
cut.
So coming to my turn, I'm going to go right ahead and say Darksiders because I love me some good old fashioned hack and slash beat 'em up Legend of Zelda in a post apocalyptic New York.
It's strong for sure.
It is.
Yep.
Good game.
I'm going to say Resident Evil 5.
God damn.
There we go.
My man.
You guys know it's good.
Yes.
See now. See. This doesn't solidify it's on the top 100, does it? Or, I mean, is there still debate here?
Sure.
That game just
Oh, I thought we
screams
were-
honorable mention to me, but we'll get to
No,
that
well,
later.
So this is just a really good way to establish a list, and then from there it could be tweaking and stuff like that. So this is just trying to pick out the bottom 100 versus honorables. But anyways,
I beat it. I've probably only beat like a quarter of these games, so
I have one specific level completely memorized. Cain.
I was trying to get the platinum trophy. Okay.
Oh, what? So your platinum game goes on their own scale?
Yeah, but I didn't get mine.
he failed the attempt.
That's right. I got the
okay.
Hello Kitty Adventure Island platinum. That's right.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so, damn it. Okay, well, all right. Yeah, we're just gonna put the Josh game in there. It's Forza Horizon.
All right.
I mean that.
Boom.
That's good.
It's good. I mean, I'm fine with that too. My next pick, specifically because I want to hear those of us or those of you guys that played it talk about it, is going to be Sleeping Dogs.
Okay.
I hear that is an underappreciated game, and I would like to know why.
Very much so, yeah. I didn't play it, but I've always kind of wanted to.
Yeah, I played 3 or 4 hours of it. I didn't put a lot of time into it, but what I did play was a very well-polished, open-world, story-driven game. I mean,
everybody was kung fu fighting.
Yeah. I can't really give you any solid you must play this reasons, but I think it just gets overshadowed by Grand Theft Auto basically, and it stands up right with
and
4
probably
at least.
Yakuza.
Yeah, I think with open world games, you're either like the cream of the crop or you're nothing. Like there's not a really good middle ground as far as consumers.
It also
go.
feels like you're either GTA or Saints Row, like you're one of the two extremes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so it's my pick. I am going to. Boy, I'm not trying to find some that I feel real strongly about. See, same like I love Zack and Wiki, but I'm totally cool with that being an honorable mention in the end. Like this is kind of trying to stay focused on the top 100 here, which I feel like, despite I was one of its biggest critics and it has some serious flaws, but it was an important game for the PlayStation 3. I gotta put God of War 3 in the top 100.
Okay, I was waiting for someone to pick that.
Now,
seems right. Seems right.
Okay. Jeepers, we are getting to the bottom of the barrel. Okay, so I'm looking at this list and I'm seeing some things that poke out to me as games that I didn't really play that much, but games that I can appreciate. Well, actually, I did play this a lot, so actually, I'm gonna go ahead and be the one completely outside of my comfort zone of video games, but I actually played it to completion with Call of Duty Black Ops.
Zombies.
Wow.
I feel like that should be Call of Duty Zombies.
And
hey, it introduced zombies, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. World at War.
World at War.
But we don't talk about World at War. A lot of people, a lot of people who love Call of Duty would say Black Ops or Black Ops 2 or even Black Ops 3 are their favorite of the series. Like it holds a lot of sway with the people who love Call of Duty. Obviously not as important as Call of Duty 4, but possibly second behind Call of Duty 4 of the generation.
And honestly, I want to say too that Call of Duty Black Ops is kind of the first Treyarch game where they finally proved their worth. Like they earned their keep with that one. So
I remember,
that definitely was they stepped into their selves there. So yeah, solid.
So of what's left here, the game that I feel like deserves the most praise is Valkyria Chronicles. But that's not what I'm going to pick, because I think Skylanders is more important.
I was waiting. Yeah, that is an important one.
That was going to be my 5 if nobody had picked it by then, because it is important. I actually own it.
Right? I got it too. And it started the whole Toys to Life craze, which
Skylanders.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
second only behind rhythm games as far as peripheral nonsense.
God.
Well,
it was big.
Cain sniped my 5th round pick.
Yeah, right?
Oh crap. So then here we are in round 5. We We're almost home on this stuff. And despite not playing it, I still there's definitely some respect for Dragon's Dogma.
Okay.
You know,
definitely.
Nice.
yeah.
agree.
Overall, just the gameplay. Even though I felt so strongly against it because it didn't have co-op, it felt like that game absolutely would have benefited
It
from
felt like a co-op game with single player.
Yeah,
I felt the same way
but-
about Keena's Vamilor, which is a little higher on the list.
Yeah, but yeah, I felt it was pretty good. So
For my next one, let's see here. Even if it's nothing more than just a proof of concept, I'm gonna go with Dance Central.
Thank you for picking that, because I did not want to pick that. And that was what
Yeah.
I was going to pick.
It's right in there with
Yeah.
Skylanders. Represents Connect,
I mean,
represents a whole
You don't have
group
to.
of
You don't have to
people.
play it, but just that it's there is important.
The
I
fact
played
that
it
they
once,
made like
and it was
Dance
fun.
Central Star Wars. Like,
Oh man.
yeah,
that was,
they beat
that was
horse.
that was Connect Star Wars, and it was a terrible like side game, and it
Yeah,
was horrible.
Dance Central actually felt like a legitimate Connect game. Everything
yeah,
else
yeah.
just felt like shovelware or
Mhm.
knockoff stuff.
Yep,
So.
that's a good pick. All right. Oh man, yeah, this is definitely getting down to it. Ooh, that seems like a good one. Cain cackling. He's gonna squeak in all of his little games that I was arguing against. I know it. I know what he's gonna pick next. I'm gonna go with Metal Gear Rising. Certainly worthy. It's especially if we just consider quality. I think it's a much better overall game than a lot of these ones that are gonna be honorable mentions. So
yeah, okay.
I've never played it. Like the platinum
Like,
fan that I am, just never played it yet. I will, but
like you got to step away from the Metal Gear and just consider it as an action game.
It's hard
especially.
to do that.
It's,
for me personally, the reason why I would have put it down in honorable mentions is probably because it's not Vanquish.
No, it's not.
God damn.
I mean, if you pick a top 3 character action games of the generation, it's usually Bayonetta, DMC, and Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, jeepers. Oh, Jiminy Christmas. I am going to pick a game very soon. Oh, fucking.
I love that I have
last
the
round,
last pick
right?
here.
Like this. There's no more pain beyond this.
No, I think there's one more.
No, after this we gotta rank a little bit. So you know.
Yeah, this is.
Oh yeah.
I
after
still
this,
think
there
this
should
is the
be-
easy part. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
there'll be less dead
I-
air though.
I'm gonna do my pick. 1, 2, 3. Step on a B. It's gonna be Hitman Blood Money. Okay.
Weird.
Yeah,
Weird.
I really like the Hitman games. I didn't play a lot of Blood
Hitman-
Money, but I do love Hitman.
Dude, Hitman Blood Money has still some of the best scenarios.
Well, plus also,
Yeah.
wasn't Blood Money the one that had a crazy fake out ending?
Yes, that was
Yeah, that was good, and it was interesting because Blood Money was the game that you it was one of those not big early games that was like, oh hey, you can approach so many different ways, but it was kind of like, I remember talking to people about Hitman. They're like, you mean I can just go onto this cruise ship dressed as a chicken, just carry a pistol around and shoot people, or instead I can put like bullets inside of a gun that's not supposed to shoot real bullets, and just like cool stuff. It was a good game.
All right, Cain. Last pick. Potentially number 100 here.
Don't
Uh,
trust that laugh.
So, the one that I really, really want to pick is Mario Kart Wii.
That's the one I'm expecting you to pick.
Because I legitimately think it's good, and I
it-
think that a lot of the people who love Mario Kart love it because of that game.
It's wait.
What?
Oh, like the Mario Kart franchise because of Mario Kart Wii. It's compared to the I'm not just comparing it to only the Wii games left here, but I would say it's a better game than Super Paper Mario, Metroid Prime 3, and probably even Zack and Wiki in the long run.
I would too. But
What's your other one?
Valkyria Chronicles is really good. I'm
It is
surprised
really
that none
good.
of you guys have
It's
talked
probably
about
more
this.
worthy of the top 100 than some of the other crap we picked.
Yeah. So, as much as I like Mario Kart Wii, I'm going to have to pick Valkyria Chronicles.
All right, this isn't locked in stone, but certainly gives us a hell of a landing platform. So now it's kind of the ranking. Even that includes our honorable mentions to a sense. So what right away is at the upper tier?
Should we rank our honorable mentions? I kind of feel like those should just be
Just a blob.
rankless.
Okay, we'll just
No,
do a
yeah,
blob.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just a blob.
So,
Yeah, that's a good call. I think we should just pick the ones that should definitely be in the upper 25 in the sense. Games,
What's the best game here?
Like,
Ooh.
I'm going to rattle off ones that I think are definitely up there. I'm going to say Mirror's Edge is definitely worthy of being in the upper part of this. There was a big one for me, or Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Yep, I was looking at that.
Is one that I really think could almost even get bumped up to the next tier if we think about that. And Valkyria Chronicles is
Very good.
I'm viewing equality here a little less than personal, I guess. I mean, we're gonna have to do a mixed bag, but I mean, what are some that you guys think?
So
For me,
just
Mirror's Edge,
Okay.
it's the only one that I've played enough that I actually would say deserves to be towards the top.
people
Yeah.
do love that game.
I legitimately think the Lego game series should be not at the top, but near-ish the top.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And then as far as personal feelings for Lost Odyssey, like somewhere in the middle. Beyond that, I can't really. I have to see how things shake out.
Yeah.
My favorite game on this list is Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I think it's number 75 for sure, if not getting bumped up. So I'm just gonna put 75 to 80 on a couple of these, so we can figure out their tiny little sequence at the very end.
I think Enslaved should be higher up,
Okay,
like in the upper range.
I'm not opposed to that. We thinking 75 to 80, or we thinking like 80 to 85?
I'm thinking Enslaved
Maybe 80 to 85.
fits, the 80 to 85
Really?
Yeah.
range.
Man.
Well, the thing is that Enslaved is really, really good in terms of like the story and like the concept of that game, but there are things left to desire on the on just gameplay overall.
Yeah, when I played that game, I remember it like the combat sucking, the frame rate being 20 FPS, and it crashing constantly.
Oh, really?
That's my remembrance of that game.
Were you playing on PC?
No, I was playing on PS3.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I remember having big camera problems too.
Okay.
But
I know this is probably a little crazy, but I think I don't think that Skyward Sword is worse than Enslaved.
Good
I
point.
don't think so either.
Very good
I'm
point.
pretty against Skyward Sword in a lot
Yeah.
of ways, and I wouldn't. And I agree with that statement. So
To be honest, like Skyward Sword, I think is actually a pretty good installment of the Zelda series. It's just unfortunately the 1-to-1 motion absolutely kind of it kills.
see,
that
I
game.
don't think it was I don't think it was just a 1-to-1 motion. I think it's one of the worst worlds in Zelda.
Yeah.
It's the overworld lack of it's just bad. It doesn't grab you the way that Zelda games almost always do. If you look at most Zelda games, like the first 45 minutes, they're usually fantastic, maybe except for Twilight Princess. But it had some serious flaws. I probably wouldn't even put it in a top 10 of the Zelda series. That might be more of a testament to the Zelda series than it is a knock
Right, yeah,
against Skyward Sword.
exactly.
But it's certainly a weak installment of the game. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it's almost about with Enslaved Odyssey to the West. I think it had gameplay issues, as did Enslaved. I think I would say Enslaved did a better job on its world, probably its story. So I think they're probably neck and neck to me. I'm gonna actually say Viva Pinata deserves to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
75, 80.
cool with that.
We're big fans of that one, so that's an easy
Okay.
one.
Also, let me step off my high horse and
Real
join
quick, I'm fine with
Isley.
Skyward Sword being in like the 80s, but
That feels right
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna join Isley in the fight to say that Oblivion should be in 75 to 80.
yeah, I think it should too.
Really?
It really should.
Yeah. I don't.
I really don't
It
know.
really, I think it
It's
should.
tough. Like go through like game by game. But that's what we should do in a ways. Like Oblivion. I think Oblivion's a better game for what it is than Skyward Sword is, especially if you compare it to their franchises. I think it's probably a better game than Enslaved Odyssey to the West. I don't think it's a better game than probably Dragon Age Origins. I don't think it's
No.
a better game than Darksiders.
No.
I don't think it's a better
So you think
game-
Darksiders is better than Skyward Sword, really?
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
Probably,
Oh, wow.
actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Darksiders is
Darksiders-
probably more of a Zelda game than
Skyward Sword is.
Than Skyward
Yeah.
Sword. Yeah.
It's just
So
more about them realizing their concept. Like realizing what I feel like they set out to do, and I don't think Skyward Sword
Okay.
did that.
So I know that there's not a lot of love for Skyward Sword, but let me have my piece. Let me say it.
Okay. Okay.
So, Cameron, you're right. The world was not good. The world was a dungeon. Skyward Sword has some very interesting control options that once you get the hang of are awesome. Every enemy you fight is a puzzle. Every zone you're in is a dungeon, including the dungeons and the overworld. You do have to revisit things which are bad, but the dungeons themselves in that game are top tier. Top 3 for Zelda games. The dungeons are incredible. They're very fun. They have innovative and unique items that you don't think, oh, I'm just going to get a hookshot. Oh, I'm just going to get the iron boots. They're all very different and they're all very unique. The game is, however, unfortunately padded. But the overwhelmingly bad things that people see about it, they're right, they're bad. But there is a lot of incredibly cool things about that game that people don't see. I've beaten that game twice.
And I think that's fair. I'm willing to put it on the same level of Oblivion. I don't think Oblivion scratches a lot of our itches, but given the 2006 release date and what it is to a lot of gamers, they feel just as strongly about it. And I think we as a whole should, as you do about Skyward Sword in a sense. So I think they both deserve to maybe be right about 80, 81, that kind of thing. They're both good games, but they're maybe not either great games in this larger 110 game experience. I mean, that's the thing. It's like we're viewing these games as the bottom of the barrel, but they're in a very nice barrel. So we gotta remember that.
Yeah, it's so tricky.
Maybe it's easier. We got a little bit of the top couple. Maybe we should try to think about some of the 90 to 100s, the ones that just snuck on here barely.
Well, I think real quick though, I think Valkyria does deserve to be kind of higher.
Yeah, I'm glad Cody put that one in.
I didn't. That was
Cain
me,
did.
thank you.
Cain over Mario Kart. Which was
I didn't play
definitely a good
Valkyria
call.
Chronicles, so I couldn't say anything to it because I would have if I'd probably played it, but I haven't played it, even though I own it.
It's really cool. A third-person kind of Advanced Wars style game turns into a little bit of third-person shooter. Awesome art style.
With shooting elements.
They just did a remastered one on PS4. Definitely worth checking out.
All right, so I'll nominate one for the bottom tier. You ready? It's going to be Forza Horizon.
Boom, roasted.
That's fitting because you put it on here. I'm fine with that in the bottom 10.
I mean, it's a really, really fun game. Colorado is okay. I've kind of talked about it before in the podcast, but it's just overall for the generation, it's here kind of by novelty, it seems. So, yeah.
I'm good with that. What about Cain? You're a big Forza guy. You fine with it in the bottom 10?
Yeah, that's fine. I think the first one is probably one of the best ones. I think the first one and the new one are probably the best.
Dude, the third one is fantastic. It's incredible. I love it. But
so
also Dante's is good for bottom.
Yeah. That's where I'd put it too.
Josh is the one who likes the game the most, so I think that is also.
It's not a bad game.
Definitely not. It's just I like it when the people who really who feel proudly about something, when they're the ones to kind of humble it instead of. Yeah, I think that speaks volumes.
As far as between I don't disagree with where the Lego games are on the list and everything like that, but Skylanders being kind of filling a similar void, but also having the added weight of needing to buy your characters and the figurines and everything like that. Where
that's an interesting comparison. I've never obviously Lego Dimensions to Skylanders was certainly compared, but I've never considered the impact of Skylanders versus the impact of the Lego games. They're both it's hugely important.
Yeah, and I don't deny that. It's just that added barrier of finding those figurines and everything. I'm fine with bottom 10 and everything. I don't deny that it's important, but Dance Central and Skylanders are definitely going to be niche titles.
I think when you remove the gimmick of Skylanders and just look at the gameplay and the games themselves.
It's a really watered down gauntlet.
I was going to say, I think Lego are far better designed.
So, I don't deny that people should
so we'll
see
put
Dance
Skylanders
Central
in the bottom
and
10.
everything like that. I'm fine with Dance Central being in the bottom 10 as well, because it's important to know that there was actually at least one decent Kinect game, but not.
I want Resident Evil 5 in the bottom 10.
What's that?
I want Resident Evil 5 in the bottom 10.
I want to hear why you hate this game so much, Cameron.
It's just not good. I enjoyed it as far as co-op and gameplay, sure, but that's not. There are so many games that I generally enjoy the co-oping. I enjoyed the co-op and gameplay of The Division. Doesn't mean that it's going to be anywhere near my favorite games of this year even. And that's how I felt about Resident Evil 5. It was a good co-op experience, and it was in the Resident Evil world, but it was cheesy. The story was terrible. I mean, you're riding on the back of Jeeps shooting zombies on motorcycles. I mean, come on. It was the start of Resident Evil starting to unravel, especially following the footsteps of Resident Evil 4, which were so great, and they just like, hey, people just like the third person shooting of it, and that's it. No, we like the environment, we like the suspense, we like the horror. I think it was just a fun co-op game, like 2 Human was too. It's not on this list.
Yeah, I would also like to weigh in. I have my bone to pick. The issue I have with Resident Evil 5, and I'll try not to be super harsh on it, is that it's from the design aspect of they decided to go from Resident Evil 4 being kind of more of a horror game. It has that action element, but it has more of a horror game, to going into a far more action-based game. The anxiety is still there in the combat because of the controls, but it's also one of those things where when you they tried to make it more of an action game, but they kept the strangely clunky controls, which is kind of a wash whether or not it's great or not, of whether they did that. I'm in the camp that I think that was kind of a weird idea, because you have this survival horror gameplay style with an action game, and it just feels weird. It gives me a sort of sense of like Silent Hill Origins, the one where you play as like an army guy and you can just kill everything with guns.
Homecoming.
I'm probably
Homecoming, that's what it was.
I'm probably fonder of Fable 2 than I am of Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, and so the other issue that I had was also Resident Evil 5, just in general, it was fun if you played it co-op. If you played it solo, the AI was like mind-numbingly terrible.
The best quote I ever heard for Resident Evil 5 single player comes from Dane, and he says the only thing more terrifying, or well, no, not the only thing, but the most terrifying thing in that game is Shiva chasing after you with a first aid spray when you have a nick of health going.
Quote
I can attest
Dane.
to that. I've ran from many co-op
I mean,
allies in my
I got
lifetime.
you a partner.
Again, it's perspective. This is
Yeah.
still on the top 100.
Yeah. Like, it's one of those
I'm totally
games.
fine 90 to 100 on that.
I mean, when I played Resident Evil 4, I kind of played 5 the same way I played 4. I just would go into an area, I would tell Ashley to wait there or hide in a dumpster, clear out all the enemies, because I just didn't want a babysitter. And I did the same thing for Shiva, except that it was because I didn't give her a weapon until I gave her a handgun with infinite ammo, because at least then she wouldn't waste any. Like, it's just... And it also felt a little weird that despite not having tank controls, I couldn't run or walk and shoot at the same time. I had to stop and shoot. Maybe my memory's wrong, but...
Nah, as per the Resident Evil turret.
And it was probably that way in
Which is
4.
vastly important to Resident Evil 4, but I almost argue that it isn't to Resident Evil 5 because they tried to make an action game, like Cody was saying. Like, I think that right there sums it up, that because in Resident Evil 4, that's hugely important. I was just watching my girlfriend play Resident Evil 4, and it was great because she was actually feeling moments of fear and terror, in a sense, because of the slightly slow controls and because of lack of ammo. And that's
when the rucksack
important.
guy with the chainsaw is coming after you and you can't move and shoot him at the same time, you got to make a choice.
I mean, even us who play that game a ton of times, you got to press the down B and then sprint.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I fear we might be wasting too much time on RE5, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to really counter anything you guys said. The thing that bugged me about it the most was the segmented area. It wasn't like a completely dynamic changing world like all the other games were. It was level based. I completely forgot about the more
that.
I think about it, the more I don't really think of, love it that much. It can probably be in the bottom, absolutely.
See, I feel like we're talking it into the honorable mention, which we won't mess with now. But I would easily say that you remove, if it isn't Resident Evil, and this game didn't have a good storyline, so that doesn't have anything to do with it. If it wasn't Resident Evil, it wouldn't be on this list. I think there are an army of 2 games that are better than this game. But so
Really, wow.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially because that's the thing. No story, not a good world. Then why do I care that you're Resident Evil? So let's go to gameplay.
Yeah.
Gameplay's better in other games. But so we're gonna put 90 to 100. It very well could be our 100th or our 99th. What else?
So I think maybe on this list here we probably do some real quick, like 80 to 90s, like just kind of the glaring ones.
I'm fine with Lost Odyssey being like 85 to 90.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it deserves to be in the top half of the list, but it's the first time that I actually played an RPG where a character didn't feel one or two dimensional. Like Cain, his story is basically that he is exactly like Squall and Cloud in FF7, except, he's kind of a bit of a downer and a little bit depressed about his worldview. Except the reason why he is that way is because he can't die, and he's constantly seeing people that he cares about die all around him. So he's kind of a little bit justified in his somber and everything like that. But beyond that, the combat actually was interesting. How they did if I remember right, it had some turn-based combat, but also a ring system that it felt more than just menu select and then watch the attack go. So
Yeah. I think God of War 3 should be 85 to 90.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe also Dragon Age Origins 85 to 90.
Yep, also fine with that.
do we already have full up on 90 to 100? Because I wanted to hear you guys'
Yes.
okay.
No, we still
We only have
some.
5 in 90 to 100, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh.
What
90
about
to 100
Sleeping
is-
Dogs?
We'll
Where
worry
would you
about
guys
that.
put that? 90 to 100?
If
or,
something feels like it should be in an area of 5 or 10, just go for it. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Which one were you gonna say?
Sleeping Dogs, where do you guys feel that one should be?
90 to 100.
90
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
100?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we like it, but it's certainly it's an underrated game, which almost helps it in situations
Yeah.
like this.
Also, after hearing your experiences, like all of your guys' experiences with Enslaved, probably 90 to 100, easily.
Same.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I'm not gonna fight terribly hard for Warhammer 40K. That could totally be, bottom tier for sure.
Yeah.
It's just that game I think that game kind of goes without its notice
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
For me, since I'm the one that recommended it, and since I enjoy that type of game, Sid Meier's Civ Revolution, 90 to 100, it is definitely not everyone's type of game. So,
Yeah, that's a good one.
it's worth knowing that it exists, but if you're not a fan of turn-based strategy, you're probably not going to like it the same way you don't like Dance Central, if you're not a fan of that type of game.
Is there anything in 90 to 100 that we should consider bumping up to 80 to 90? I'm thinking that I like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, but it also is slightly novelty and probably a 90 to 100 as well.
I'd say probably 80 to 90 would be like Darksiders.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, because we have 10 90 to 100s now. And so,
I
yeah.
also think Dragon's Dogma is 80 to 90.
Yeah.
That feels
Black
right.
Ops probably as
Black
well.
Ops 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blood Money. That one feels like a 90 to 100 to me.
It does it to me too.
It does. So maybe bring. Oh,
Where are
fuck,
you
I don't
bringing
even know.
Banjo and Kazooie up or leaving in 90 to 100?
I think it should be 90 to 100, but I mean,
Okay.
I wouldn't be opposed to it going slightly up, but I'm. How about Rising Revengeance? 85 to 90?
Lower 80s or 85 to 90, yeah. I haven't played it, but
Is it
Well, why
90 to
don't we-
100? I mean, you guys seem like you're not the biggest fans of Revengeance.
It's a cool game.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say on it. I didn't really play it. It looked cool. It looked interesting. I definitely don't think it's 90 to 100. It's definitely higher than that. But
I think Black
not
Ops
much.
is better than that, and Blood Money probably.
yeah.
Yeah, same.
So where's Blood Money? We want to do it
Directly under 90 to 100. I think it probably 80 to...
Yeah, like 88, 89 ish.
Mm-hmm.
How do you so Lost Odyssey? How do we feel on that?
myself personally, I mentioned 85 to 90.
Oh, you
yeah,
did? Okay.
that sounds about
Yeah.
right for me. So I think
Okay.
now we just gotta do the actual rankings. I think we're good.
Lost Odyssey is still hanging out down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're thinking 85 to 90.
And also
Yeah.
The Legend of Zelda
Yeah.
Skyward Sword is kind of out of place at the moment, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. So yeah, where does that go? Is that a 80 to 85?
Yeah, I'm fine with
Or
that. for
only...
sure. It
oh,
could even
yeah,
be a
80.
75 to 80 if depending on what it's up against.
I feel stronger about it than a lot of the games on this list, but I realize that it has its criticisms and people who do not like it. So I'm not super attached to it.
This is the guy who beat it twice. Yeah, it's just, I really, really, really wanted to like that game, and I played that game when I was in a massive Zelda kick, and
it just took it to a roaring halt.
Oh, it did. It killed my combo.
It did. I'd watched that train screech to a halt.
Yeah, and I really gave it a good solid try. I played that game for maybe 15 hours and before I was just finally kind of fed up with the controls.
Yeah,
the motion controls were just killed it.
So I
Personally,
like
personal opinion.
Donkey Kong Country Returns as 75.
As our headliner, yeah.
Same.
I like that as well.
And like I said, that
totally.
DK
That game is incredible.
it's funny because the game right above it in the next tier, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, I would take Donkey Kong Country Returns over that game in a heartbeat.
So would I.
But we'll cross that bridge next week. Then I'm thinking Valkyria Chronicles or Mirror's Edge follows behind.
Yeah. I would say, oh gosh,
or even Darksiders.
Well,
I would probably put Mirror's Edge and Viva Pinata over Darksiders.
Same. I agree.
Okay, so let's do
Even
so
the Lego.
perhaps Mirror's Edge being 76 then? Is that what we're talking about?
I'm fine with that. I like Mirror's Edge. I think it's a little overrated, but I think it's
definitely
its look
tapered
and
off
experience.
at the end of the game.
Yeah,
so
I think
that kind of hurt it.
I think it's really just a perspective thing, but it's definitely a good game, and it's hard it's hard to talk about this generation and not bring up Mirror's Edge. So I think that helps it.
Yeah, it did have an influence.
Let's put Skyward Sword at 80.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That'll give us a nice balancing, nice thing to base things off of. So Viva Pinata, I love Viva Pinata. What do you guys think? Where should it be?
It's right there. 77, absolutely perfect.
Yeah. And Valkyria.
I didn't play Trouble in Paradise. I played the first one a ton, and so if Trouble in Paradise is just more of that and extra, 77, right up here.
I think Lego games and Valkyria Chronicles switch places.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Really?
I would put Lego game series is super influential and had a very wide. I don't know. It was
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
One of the only game series of the console generation that I strove to 100%.
Okay.
Plus, also, it was just one of those things Valkyria Chronicles was really good, but I know a ton of people that have sat down and they'd be like, oh, I played Valkyria Chronicles like you said I should. And I was like, neat, I haven't played it. How is it? And they're like, I fucking hate it. And
really?
People I recommend the Lego games to. They're just like, oh, the Lego games are so fucking awesome. I love it.
Yeah, tactics compared to action. So that's just the nature of that beast. So we're thinking Lego 78, maybe, and Valkyria 79. I mean, that gives us a top 5 for this category, if we're fine with that. We'd be putting Skyward Sword ahead of Oblivion, which I feel like sends a message that Cain probably appreciates. I'm not exactly against that.
I'm not against it.
I think they're both the lesser part of their franchises, and they're both decent games that probably got more hate from them. Actually, Oblivion got more love than it deserved. Skyward got more hate than it deserved. But
I almost feel like the 80s list is almost already in order. It feels pretty close. To me, at least.
I might say Darksiders is ahead.
I think
of Oblivion.
Move Darksiders a little bit down, is what you're saying, or
no,
or ahead of Oblivion?
No, he's saying move it ahead of Oblivion.
I got so much hate for Oblivion. You might just have to disregard what I say.
No, dude, I'm right there with you. I like Skyrim and those Elder Scrolls type games like Morrowind and stuff like that. Those games are fun and they have their place. They're not necessarily for me, but they're that's fine. But Oblivion, I really do think is not a good game. The main the main storyline quests are boring. The combat is downright fucking broken. I think the only thing that people like about that game is the Dark Brotherhood quest. I think that's it.
I think Dragon Age Origins...
That's your hot take.
I think Dragon Age Origins is a better game, and I think Dragon's Dogma is certainly a better game. So maybe Oblivion goes number 85.
Okay, I think we can work with that.
That's probably fine, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just numbering
825.
right? 83, 84. I mean, do we like Black Ops behind Darksiders ahead of Dragon's Dogma, stuff like that? God of War 3 has lots of flaws.
I personally like having Darksiders above COD Blops, just because I love Darksiders a lot. But I could understand if COD Blops was higher because it's what popularized zombies. It's not what started it, but it's definitely what popularized it. And also, like the Call of Duty zombies, not zombies in general. Obviously.
Black Ops is a legitimately good game. The campaign is good, the multiplayer is good, and the zombies is good.
Yeah,
I like where it's at.
It is real good.
Okay.
I'm actually not minding 85 through 90 so far as I click through it too.
Yeah, that actually seems right to me too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Oblivion above God of War just hurts, but that's fine.
God of War 3 they're both great examples of overhyped and reviewed way better than they should have.
3 is the worst God of War game besides Ascension.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, it's fun. The ones you forget don't count. Yeah. So Sleeping Dogs at number, what would that make it? That's the one that could maybe move up.
Yeah, I don't really have a good argument to move it up. It feels like it should be above Revengeance and Dante's Inferno to me, but I can't really give you a good reason why.
Yeah, I feel like it might be worthy of being above.
Like, maybe at least put it above Dante's Inferno.
I'm okay
at
with
the
this,
90 spot.
For sure.
So, Josh, let me hear your piece on Dante's Inferno.
I enjoy Dante's Inferno because I think it really just kind of came down to the sick and twisted images that game development studio was able to portray.
Well, the game also had a pretty decent like combo system with the attacking and stuff. Plus, it kept itself kind of sort of feeling fresh with the you get the chain and then you can mount the other like big monsters and you have a whole new move set to unleash havoc on enemies and build up your combo chain. And it was just one of those extreme action games that was really heavily overlooked.
Yeah, I remember liking it when I played of it.
What I did play, I didn't play it a lot at all, but what I did play, I did enjoy a lot.
Good explanation, Josh.
Little Josh takes over.
But yeah, I really enjoyed like when you do the Save Game Plus, that you're able to build on the upgrades you've already done and make a hybrid of the good and evil. And then also every circle of hell, the boss at the end was always really, really unique and had different mechanics that you needed to master to be able to take them down. And it's not so dissimilar from, God of War or other hack and slashes like them. But I really feel like Visceral did a great job really like portraying and fully realizing that the circle of hells. So it's good. It's good.
What do you guys think of the bottom part of the list?
Oh, you mean number 100?
I rearranged it. Yeah, okay, good news. We actually only had 99 games. So I saved one and I did Mario Kart Wii. I mean, the other options could be Fable 2.
No. Yeah, let's just leave Mario Kart Wii there.
You guys kind of talked me down on Resident Evil 5, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I mean, one for the cause.
I would really much rather have Fable 2 or Condemned on here.
Dude, I would have Just Cause 2 over Resident Evil 5.
Metroid Prime 3 is a pretty good game too.
Oh, no, that's definitely not one I'd rather have. That's Resident Evil 5 for the Metroid Prime series in my book.
Could Forza bump up one from 94 to 93 and swap Dance Central?
Yeah, that's a good call. That's a good call.
I just that's what I feel.
Yeah, like
is Enslaved really better than Nuts and Bolts?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I think that's a good swap too.
Okay.
Was Enslaved better than 40K? Probably not.
I've spent many years trying to trick people into giving Nuts and Bolts a shot, and I'm like hesitant. I'm like a victim at this point. Like I'm scared to even bring it up.
Nuts and Bolts is a good game.
It is.
Can we swap Warhammer and Enslaved? Is that a thing too?
Yeah.
Well, honestly, Enslaved should at least be 98.
I'm fine with Revolution over Enslaved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It should at least be 98.
Yeah.
Also, this is just for our listeners who are probably we should take this and put it into a visual format so that they can look at this while we're doing
I was thinking maybe what do you guys think? Either show notes for this episode or show notes for next episode, so it doesn't give away.
Well,
I would like to look at this while I'm doing it.
I think just a hard list once we're finished here now, we'll give it to them. Like not like actual, just like the Excel or nothing like that. I think we don't release the actual list of games until we have locked it in and finalized it. That's what I think.
That's true, because Donkey Kong Country Returns could be getting bumped up, things of that nature. So
Yeah, so we share the original list that has our ratings and stuff.
No, I'm
so they
saying
can
in
see
verbal,
which games we're talking
in
about.
verbal form. Like we read off the list, and then once we actually finalize this list, then we release a copy.
I think I'll put this in the show notes, especially the click to show more, because I do agree with Cain that it would be nice to have, because this is definitely, there's some dead air here. We're shooting from the hip on a lot of this stuff. I mean, it could be a little slow for the listener, so certainly we'll give them kind of a visual guide, but it will be a soft. Like Josh is totally right about not wanting this to be concrete. So we'll only have this little list in the show notes for now.
Yep.
And when we're ready to make it official, we'll put it up. I'm thinking about doing a YouTube video with a conversation. That's so much video content to get though. So So yeah, we like this?
Do we have
except for Resident Evil 5
100
a list so far? Like everyone feels satisfied with this?
Is there anything we want to put in instead of Resident Evil 5? Cain was really the defender, so if Cain's backing down, I think we could bump it.
I feel like my experience with Resident Evil 5 is strong enough that it barely clings on to this list.
Right.
So
I put enough time into it that it should at least be mentioned in the 100 list.
Put it at 100. Put Mario Kart Wii over it.
Yeah, I agree. Mario Kart Wii is better.
Yes.
Okay, so not to add any more time here, I kind of want Fable 2 in the very, very bottom of this list. Is there anything we can cut?
Fuck it, Hack and Slaved. Like, just... I've been hearing a lot of hate from every direction about this pick.
I really, really feel...
I mean, it doesn't have to be. I just really... Like, Fable 2, it got a lot of hate, and it did deserve it, but it's not, like, a bad game. I did enjoy it. I mean, it's not Fable 3. I feel like a lot of the hate for Fable 3 really affected...
What if Fable 2 could be, like, a soft, like, it's not technically on the list, but it's, like, 100.5?
It can just be honorable mention, I guess.
What if it's at the top of the honorable mentions and it's got a parentheses 101?
A little asterisk next to it.
And then everything else is a blob.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll let it go. I take it
So-
for
It's an
a lot of the
honorary
games.
listy.
How about
lot
we
of the
move Mario
games.
Kart Wii up above Enslaved?
Yeah.
Enslaved, yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
slowly keep moving it up. And
How about we move it above Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution?
No.
Yeah, right?
Cain?
No,
Cain?
honestly,
I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm not trolling.
Okay.
Yeah, and Josh is the only person on Warhammer, so I'm actually saying it goes below Nuts and Bolts. What do you guys think?
Josh, how about we move Mario Kart Wii above Warhammer 40K?
That's
It's
already
already done.
Okay, guys, what if
It
we
hurts,
move
guys.
Mario Kart
It
Wii?
hurts. I really, really, really don't like Mario Kart Wii. I really
Guys,
don't.
guys, what if we
but
what
I
if we move Mario
suppose
Kart
that'll be
Wii to number
fine.
74?
It's probably my least favorite of the Mario Karts.
It is bad.
Absolutely.
It is very bad.
I think the only one,
It goes.
I think the
It's
only
just the whole us
Mario
personally
Kart that's
versus
worse
the
than
world.
that is Super Circuit. But yeah,
It's fucking Super Circuit.
Say you
I
love
really
Super
enjoy
Circuit.
Super Circuit.
I was gonna
by
say
the way.
Josh loves Super Circuit.
But I can step back and I can understand the Super Circuit as a Mario Kart game in the franchise is definitely one of its weakest links. It probably is its weakest link.
Excellent. So we have the order. If there are any changes, any updates, we will go ahead and mention it before we sink into 50 through 75 next week. But as much as I hate to rattle off another list of games, I won't mention the honorable mentions. Hopefully you guys picked up on that in the first part. I will just quickly go through our bottom 75 here. 75 through 80 in order is Donkey Kong Country Returns, Mirror's Edge, Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise, the Lego game series, Valkyria Chronicles. 80 through 85 is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, Dragon Age Origins, Darksiders, Call of Duty Black Ops, Dragon's Dogma. 85 through 90, Oblivion, God of War 3, Lost Odyssey, Hitman Blood Money, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. 90 through 95, Sleeping Dogs, Dante's Inferno, Skylanders, Forza Horizon, Dance Central. 95 through 100, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, Mario Kart Wii, sneaking up from the honorable mentions, Lucky Cain, Warhammer 40k Space Marine, Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution, Enslaved Odyssey to the West, and Resident Evil 5.
Dead last.
That eye roll. If your
Dead
eyes could roll
last.
further back in your head, you would look like a lich.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah, so that's our list, guys. I hope it was fun
So
listening
far.
to it.
Yeah, I'm proud of us so far. We did the first 25. plus
This
the 10
one's not so
honorables.
bad. I'm like, man, the top 25. That's when it's important. That's when you're not
Like-
just
Yeah.
arguing about games
Oh,
that you
no.
thought were decent. You know, a lot of these games are good games, but, you know, we had a great generation. A lot of these games were not even Game of the Year nominees the year they come out. We're about to go into some of the greatest games ever made, and we're going to be picking between Street Fighter 4, Dark Souls, Mario Galaxy. I mean, apples and oranges and bananas. So this is going to get crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo-wee.
So,
So
At
enjoy.
the very least, I'm very hopeful for our future, and I'm super excited to hash out the next group of those. So, but anyways, yeah, this week we are not going to be doing the Grumpy Trope, mainly because we are running pretty late on this episode. So, for all of you that are still here listening to us, I applaud you. Thank you for sticking around. That's going to wrap it up for our 2-day segment of episode 6. And yeah, I hope you have a great day, great night, great morning. Anything else?
Second breakfast.
Bye, everybody. Oh, hey, real quick. Well, hold on. Before you fade in this music.
I faded in a long time ago.
Well, okay. Well, then never mind.
No, go ahead.
Don't worry about it.
I'll fade it
I
back
was
out.
Oh, okay. Cool. Awesome. You can do that?
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, neat. Cool. Well, by Cain, but yes,
Cain's
Cain and I
already
did
left
we did a video about Super Mario RPG, and we played that video game, and we did really terrible voices for it. And you can check it out on our YouTube channel. It's what is our YouTube link, Cameron?
I'll put it in the show notes. If you search Supertrope, you're going to get a bunch of Supertorps because it means extremely clumsy in Spanish. But hey, you'll find us. We're actually on the first page
Sweet,
of
learn
YouTube.
something new every day.
Right? So, yeah, I found that out thanks to Supertrope. But yeah, just search Supertrope. We'll be right on there, a big black and orange logo. You don't even have to scroll down on the page. So that's the best way to
We
do
have
it.
some other videos on there as well too,
Yeah.
but
A few stuff.
yeah, you know, check out our video. We have the first episode up, the second one's on the way. Yeah, if you wanna do that, that'd be great. But anyways, I think we'll go away for now, or we'll leave for this. Yes, goodbye.
Fade out the music or fade in.
Quick,
Whatever.
fade out. I can't talk.
Jesus. Okay. I'm going to stop recording now. Just angry comments. Please. All caps.